Hello and welcome to yet another video. This is the 5th episode of the story in which Naruto almost dies at Final Valley, but fate still wants him to live. The Shinigami takes an interest in Naruto and makes him its first summoner. Watch Naruto as he shows the world what it's like to summon the Death God. This story comes from Kyubigoku. Make certain to support him, her. Please like and subscribe to show your support. Let's get the show started. In Konoha, Kakashi sighed as he leaned against the wall while he was talking to Sakura. He could see that the news had completely devastated her while the pink kunoichi held her head to the ground. Team 7 might be disbanded? But why? She asked, and Kakashi rubbed the back of his head with a small sigh at her question. I know it's hard to digest, Sakura, but Tsunade-sama's forming a group and me, Sasuke, and Naruto and another of our Umbu. I'm sorry, Sakura, but if Naruto, Kushina and Sasuke agree to it, then we're all officially a team, Kakashi explained, and Sakura balled her fists. What can you all do that I can't do? This isn't fair, she said, and Kakashi held up his hands in defense while he sweat dropped. Mama, Sakura, calm down now. It's not like we won't ever come back. We'll just be a lot more busy. Also, to tell you, we're all Kenjutsu users. We are the most proficient in using swords. I was quite capable with swords back in the day. Kushina was a Kenjutsu legend when she was an Umbu, and she passed those skills to Naruto. Sasuke, while it's weird to say this, was trained by Orochimaru. Well, I have to go, Sakura, back to a place I should have gone long ago, Kakashi said while he walked away with a waving hand, leaving Sakura alone in the fields to sulk. With Kakashi, the Jonin sighed as he wondered if he could have handled that better. He didn't know how Sakura would handle this new change, but orders were orders and she would just have to deal with it. Time to go. Back to that place, Kakashi thought as he entered into the streets of Konoha. He watched the people converse with each other and kept his impassive attitude. He could see a few Umbu hopping along the rooftops. He closed his visible eye as he walked away in silence. It didn't take long before Kakashi left the streets and came into a forested area. He moved through the trees before he came up to a small house. It was well hidden to match the environment. Its medium-sized wood, which was capable of housing about 5 to 6 people. The wood was somewhat deteriorated, but Kakashi didn't care about that at the moment. He quickly walked up to the house and touched the door. How long has it been since I've been here? Kakashi wondered as he opened the door. The wooden door creaked before opening and Kakashi stepped inside. He looked around the dark room before his fingers fumbled for the light switch. He flicked it on and all the lights came on, showing a quaint little space. He walked into the living room where a small couch and scrolls were. Connected to the living room was the kitchen, which hadn't been used in who knows how long. The amount of dust that had accumulated was staggering, which made Kakashi rub his head. I guess I'll have to clean this up one of these days, Kakashi said to himself before he left the kitchen and walked up the stairs. He looked to see 2 rooms, each right across from the other. On was his room and the other was his father's, Tsukumo Hatake, room. Kakashi looked down for a little while before he grabbed the door into his father's room. "Two-san, I'm home." "Sorry it took so long," Kakashi said as he opened the door. He flickered on the light and was graced with an empty room, just like he had thought. It's not like he was expecting anything, it was just that he was feeling the loneliness settle in for a little while. Kakashi passed through the door and walked inside. His father's room wasn't anything impressive, just rather moderate. The Jonin looked up at his father's bed where the sheets laid in their perfect fashion just as the day he left. Right above the bed was a sword. It wasn't like the white light chakra saber that he used a Jonin during his youth. It was a lot longer and more of a full-tang katana. It had a white handle over it and a small wolf-looking scarab. The sheath was made of pure white with 2 twin gray lines running through it. Kakashi hadn't been in his father's room at all since his death, so he might have missed this. The Jonin grabbed the handle and closed his eyes. I probably can't wield this just yet, but I hope you can watch me too, San, Kakashi said to himself as he took the sword into his hands only for a small note to fall to the ground. Kakashi eyed it for a few minutes before he picked it up. He rested the sword on the bed as he read over the note. To my son, hey Kakashi, I don't really know why I'm writing this since you're sleeping just across the hall from me, but things work out like that. I suppose you hate me, don't you? My being ridiculed by the village for my mission must be embarrassing you to be called my son, but I love you. If you're reading this note, then that means that the sword I gave you isn't enough for you and you want mine. I knew it wouldn't take long. That chakra saber that you inherited from me wasn't my actual sword. I just used it a lot and figured you might like it. The one in your hands is my true sword. It's my Tengaku Hako, heavenly white light. That's the true sword that earned my name, the White Fang of Konoha. Use it well and it will aid you in everything that you do. Don't forget that. Goodbye, my son. Your father, Tsukumo Hatake. Kakashi closed his eyes and gave a deep sigh as he turned to the sword. He quickly took off the sheath and looked at it. It was perfect. No scratches, or signs of wear and tear. The shiny steel shimmered in the light of the room. Kakashi saw his reflection before he closed his sword back. He stood to his feet and strapped his sword to his back. I'll be sure to return this to San, but I'll do as you want and I'll use it to the best of my abilities, Kakashi said to the room before he left the house. He would return later to clean up the place. He wouldn't mind it if their group could use the house if they wanted. He didn't really use it for anything anyway. Well, I guess I'll go find Yugao and get back into the swing of things, Kakashi said as he shined out of the forest. Konoha Security Prison. Sasuke stood in his cell while he did some standard push-ups and exercises. He might be in jail, but that didn't mean that he couldn't train. He did all his taijutsu exercises and anything else that he could do with his body that didn't require the use of weapons. He still wished he had his sword, but he could forget about it for now. He'd been in jail for a few days now and this had been his training regime for those times. Alright, I'm done with that, now I can do some other things, Sasuke said to himself before he saw an Umbu appear. He narrowed his eyes as the doors to his cell opened. Uchiha, get out here, he yelled and Sasuke stood to his feet. He glared before he walked out of the cell room. What is it? You bored so you came to harass me? The Uchiha asked before the Umbu walked away. He motioned for the Uchiha to follow him and Sasuke did. He saw people moan and groan at him leaving before any of them, but he paid it no mind at all. Soon the two left the cells behind and the man gave Sasuke his usual clothes, making the brunette look at him with a confused expression on his face. The Umbu turned around and narrowed his eyes behind high mask. You're lucky to be out so damn early. Tsunade-sama wants to see you immediately. Why I don't know, but like I said, you really are lucky, the Umbu said and Sasuke sighed as he put his clothes on just as easy. Great, what does she want now? Sasuke wondered while another Umbu came next to him. We'll be escorting you to Lady Hokage, now get moving, he said and Sasuke walked off towards the Hokage mansion even if he had no idea on what this was about. Hokage mansion. Tsunade was behind her desk signing some papers as usual while she waited for the Uchiha to arrive. She knew that Naruto and Kushina would be back in a day or two so she would tell them when they arrived. She already had the licenses made for all 5 of them so she would just have to wait. Soon there was a knock on the door making the Godame Hokage raise her head. Come in, she said and soon Sasuke entered the room with 2 Umbu flanking him on his sides. The Uchiha sighed while the Umbu bowed. We've brought Uchiha-san Hokage-sama, they said and Tsunade dismissed them making them both quickly leave back to their positions. Sasuke stared at Tsunade while she signed some documents. It wouldn't be hard for her to ignore his lingering before she finished the last document and casted her gaze towards the lone Uchiha. She rested her elbows on the table and rested her head into her arms. So how is prison? she asked with a smile, and Sasuke closed his eyes while folding his arms. Annoying to say the least. So what did you want to talk to me about? I doubt it's good, so I might be returning to my cell soon, Sasuke responded, and Tsunade chuckled at him while the Uchiha sighed in annoyance. Well, that all depends on your answer to my question, Tsunade said, and Sasuke raised an eyebrow at her while Tsunade explained. I'm forming a little group that's comprised of you, Naruto, Kushina, Kakashi, and one of my Umbu, Yugao Uzuki. In essence, you are a group of Kenjutsu users, Tsunade said, and Sasuke narrowed his eyes. A group? Why would you make a group of sword users, and what's the purpose? Sasuke asked all these questions, and Tsunade was more than willing to answer a few of them. Yes, this is a group. It was originally not my idea, rather Sakura made it known as a joke, but I thought it over and it seemed like a really good idea. As to the purpose, I can't tell you that yet until all of you are assembled. Naruto and Kushina are out somewhere, so I'll wait for them, then I'll tell you all the purpose, Tsunade said, and Sasuke settled for that at the moment. Alright then, so what's in this for me if I do join? Sasuke asked, and Tsunade smiled. Well, for one, you won't be treated as a criminal anymore. Granted, you will be on strict probation, but you won't be in prison. I'll iron out more details with everyone when they arrive, but you'll be reinstated as a shinobi for Konoha. Once your probation is over, you will be able to do whatever you want, but nothing before that, Tsunade said, and Sasuke placed a finger to his chin. He thought it all over before turning back to the Hokage. I get my sword back, right? He asked, and Tsunade nodded. That's right. Your sword will be delivered to you wherever it is you want, so will you join my group? Tsunade asked, and Sasuke avoided her gaze for a second as he pondered over it. He had really nothing to lose in this, and he could get out of prison and get some real training done. Fine, I'll join. It sounds interesting enough. I want to hear more about it when Naruto and his mother get here. You'll answer all our questions? Sasuke asked, and Tsunade nodded. Very well then. I'm going back to the Uchiha compound. Deliver it there, Sasuke said as he left the room. Meanwhile, Tsunade looked out the door and smiled. I hope this is a good idea, Tsunade said before getting back to some work that she had to get done. Uzumaki, Lime warning Naruto and Kushina had finished exploring what they could of their homeland and decided to go back to the house for the day where some other exploration was going on. Sochi, we have to get back to packing, Kushina said with a slight moan. Naruto chuckled as he kissed his mother's neck, making her slightly shiver. You say that, Ka-chan, but you seem to feel good right now, Naruto told her as Kushina slightly blushed while she averted her gaze. That's not true at all, she struggled to say before Naruto eyed her. He smiled as he pushed his lips back to his mother's and quickly maneuvered her head to lightly hit the wall while Kushina rubbed her soft hands over her son's shoulders. Naruto pushed his tongue into his mother's mouth and the two swirled them around. It felt good not to have anyone else around and just have the time to themselves. Ka-chan's lips taste really good, Naruto said with a smile, making Kushina blush again at his words. The blonde raised one hand and placed it over his mother's blouse-covered breast. Kushina gave a slight and blissful moan since she hadn't been touched like that in a long time. Sochi, where did you learn this? Kushina asked as she bit her lip. Naruto gave a sly grin across his face before he moved up to his mother's ears. Why? Does it make you feel good? He asked, and Kushina gulped, but didn't say anything as Naruto sucked on her earlobes while Kushina's hands scaled her son's chest. If we don't start we'll be late in, getting back, Kushina told him, and while Naruto leaned back. He glanced at his mother's flushed face while her long hair laid across the bed. Kushina could feel her son rubbing his hard-on over her thighs, making her even more hot as she blushing. He's so hard. How can I stop him now? Kushina wondered before she gave a small smile and leaned up from the wall, smacking her lips back into Naruto's. The blonde was generally surprised by the action as Kushina played around in his mouth. She quickly slid her hands down and grabbed his hard-on through his boxers. Naruto widened his eyes while Kushina smiled. "You're not the only one who can manipulate Sochi," Kushina said while Naruto grabbed the sheets of the bed. He mentally cursed the situation while Kushina continued to rub her slender hands over his dick. Yes, she was rubbing her son's cock and she was enjoying it. Kushina watched her son squirm from her touch while the redhead smiled. "Do Ka-chan's hands feel good?" Kushina asked and Naruto gritted his teeth with a nod of bliss while Kushina smiled. "Well Sochi, how about I do something for you?" Kushina said as she trailed down his body. She unbuttoned them exposing his chest while she stripped him of everything, but his boxers. "Ka-chan, what are you about to do?" Naruto asked, but only the sneaky smile from his mother was present as she took his cock out. Kushina eyed the large member as she pumped it up and down. "Well, I suppose we have some time to spare, right Sochi?" Kushina asked and Naruto struggled to give a nod. Meanwhile, the blonde took off his mother's blouse and looked at the red bra and matching panties which really came to match her hair. Kushina did seem to notice and quickly let go of Naruto's cock only to push Naruto to the bed and turn her body around as she rested her spot on his face. "There Sochi, do you like my attire?" Kushina asked and Naruto gulped with a nod as he carefully took off his mother's panties. He watched the streams of liquid flow down her body making him lick his lips before he moaned out only to see Kushina bobbing her head over his cock. She moved her hair out of the way as she swirled her tongue over his cock. "Ka-chan, damn that feels good." "Slow down," Naruto told her, but Kushina didn't seem to hear him at the moment. She could only focus on the thick stick in front of her while Naruto twitched his eyebrow. "Two can play that game Ka-chan," Naruto said as he lifted his head and sucked on her sweet nether lips. Kushina widened her eyes before she slightly shuddered. She could feel Naruto's tongue climbing further and further inside before she continued her own. "Oh, it's so good. What have I been missing out on? My son is licking my pussy," Kushina said in thought as they continued to try and compete against each other. Meanwhile Kyubi was grinning like mad while he rubbed his claws together. Yes, yes, yes. This is the way you do it he, the fox demon thought to himself as he watched the immoral mother and son have their fun. Kushina quickly stroked her son in her mouth while Naruto swirled his tongue around. "Oh yes Sochi. That's good. Just keep doing it like that uhu," Kushina mewled and Naruto felt his cock tighten while Kushina shivered. "Ka-chan, I think I'm gonna dash," Naruto said and Kushina continued to move while Kushina said the same. "Do it Sochi. Then we'll leave." "Are you going to do it for me Databane?" Kushina asked and Naruto bit his lips. "Kaa-chan." Naruto yelled as he came inside her mouth. Kushina widened her eyes at the intruding liquids before she squealed. "Naruto kun." Kushina yelled as she came in his mouth. Naruto never felt something so sweet before in his life. He found it to be quite addicting before they both stopped and slumped to the floor. Kushina rolled off Naruto and the two huffed. "Did I overdo it?" Naruto asked and Kushina smiled. "I don't think so. I really needed that," Kushina said and Naruto leaned up on the side of the bed. "Why did you need that?" he asked and Kushina leaned up next to him. She placed her head on his shoulder before smiling. "Because it's been a long time since I've felt this way for anyone other than you," Kushina said as she stood to her feet and covered her areas with a small blush on her face. Naruto smiled as he stood up also. He could see the remnant of his pleasure over her body making her look more erotic than before. He would have liked to really take his mother, but he could wait. He was just happy to be with her for now, but she was right. They did have to go, so on that note the two quickly washed up and got dressed. Lime over Naruto and Kushina exited the house they had been staying at and everything was packed up and ready to go. The blonde had taken the books that he had found in the vault. They were all packed up and ready to go. The two Uzumaki passed the large gates of Uzumaki and walked away into the bushes. Kushina whistled a sweet tone while the sun shined over the island. While she whistled, Naruto closed his eyes and enjoyed the sweet sound. He smiled before turning to his mother. "You've got a beautiful voice," Naruto said, and Kushina raised an eyebrow before rubbing the back of her head. "Do I? I've never figured it," she said, and Naruto nodded as he remembered back to a certain incident. "You remind me of this girl who knew how to play the flute. She was kind of a foul mouth, but she was all right. If only she wasn't with Orochimaru team. She had red hair just like yours, or maybe it was dark pink, I don't remember," Naruto said, and Kushina raised an eyebrow. "Oh? And what was her name?" Kushina asked, and while she wasn't at all interested in the concept of someone from Orochimaru's hand, she still could talk about it. "Her name was Tayuya, I think," Naruto said, and Kushina stopped. Naruto turned around, making the redhead place a finger to her chin. "I knew a Tayuya. She was only a baby at the time. One of her parents was my cousin. Her name was Yura Uzumaki. After Uzugakure's destruction, she came to visit me under the guise of someone else. When I hooked up with her, she told me how she was pregnant and the small baby that she had in her arms. She said she would name the child Tayuya. I never knew why. She was only about a year old at the time I had seen her. She had the same type of hair you're talking about," Kushina said. Naruto widened his eyes. "Wait, are you saying that Tayuya could have been an Uzumaki?" Naruto asked, and Kushina nodded. "Anything is possible, Sochi. It's something to look into," Kushina said, and Naruto could agree with that. If Tayuya was family, then that would mean that he had a cousin and he didn't even know about it. Oh, how weird was that supposed to be for him? "Alright, we'll look into it later, Ka-chan," Naruto told her, and the two arrived at the sea. "Alright, so how do we get back?" he asked, and Kushina smiled. "Just wait a few minutes," she said, and Naruto did so. Those minutes went by fast as they saw a ship appear. It was the same one that they had gone on before they left. Naruto had asked his mother how she knew that they were coming, and she merely told him that she had given them orders to come and get the two in 2 or 3 days. Soon the mother and son duo got on the boat and were ready to head back to Konoha. Back in Konoha, Sasuke stepped into his family's training ground and felt the nostalgia taking over him. He did feel lonely, but even if he didn't admit or nor ever would, he was happy that Naruto said he could bring his mother back. He still felt doubt, but if there was one thing he knew about Naruto, it was that when people doubted him, they were always proven wrong. Sasuke had his sword delivered as Tsunade promised him, and the Uchiha quickly got out of the attire that Orochimaru had given him. He felt disgusted by it and decided to burn in. Right now, the Uchiha was in a black shirt with the Uchiha symbol on the back and tight shorts. He wore his shin guards and black arm guards around his legs and arm. It felt good to be back in the training ground before the Uchiha took out his sword. He quickly went through his katas and stances. His Sharingan was blazing as he went through his intense workout. He could feel the stares of some Umbu on him, but he ignored it for the time being. However, that was only for about half an hour before he felt another presence. Sasuke sighed as he sheathed his sword and took a bottle of water. He allowed the water to quench his thirst while he rolled his eyes. "Sakura, come on now," Sasuke said, and just like he knew, the pink-haired Kunoichi appeared with her head down. Sasuke narrowed his eyes at her before he saw some other people appear. He saw Ino, Chuji, Shikamaru and Niji walking towards him. "Oh great, what do you all want?" Sasuke asked, sitting on the porch while Shikamaru rubbed the back of his head. "I see you're still the same troublesome guy," the Nara said while Sasuke huffed. "Is there something you need from me for some reason?" Sasuke asked, and Sakura looked at him in sadness. "Sasuke-kun, did you hear that Tsunade-sama's disbanding Team 7? She's making a group of me, Naruto, Kakashi, and some Umbu." "Yeah, I heard about it," Sasuke said while Sakura walked up to him in a pleading type of voice. Then don't accept it. We should all be a team again like we used to, Sakura said while the others turned to Sasuke. The Uchiha closed his eyes and got to his feet. I already agreed to it, Sasuke said, making everyone gasp at him like they found it shocking. Sasuke, how could you be so thoughtless? Ino asked and Sasuke glared at her. Shikamaru and Chuji backed up before Sasuke turned around. In what way am I being thoughtless? She should be happy for the training she received, but she keeps focusing on me. She needs to get over herself right now. You say I'm being thoughtless, then have you thought about how I feel? Sasuke asked, making Ino narrow her eyes while Sakura seemed confused. Sasuke sucked his teeth and sighed. Well, whatever. I agreed to it, so leave me alone so I can train. If you want your questions, then go ask the Hokage, cause I don't know it all. It's time to stop living that dream, Sakura, Sasuke said before Chuji walked forward. She just wanted you to come home, Sasuke. Isn't that why you're here now? He asked while Sasuke quickly swung his sword around, doing his katas as always. No one's going to keep holding her hand all the time. I didn't come back for her, nor did I come back for this village. I only came back because of what Naruto said to me. If what he said was true, then that's fine with me, Sasuke said, and Sakura widened her eyes at Naruto's name. What did he say to you? Sakura asked with a bit of haste in her voice, which everyone had known. It's none of your business what he said to me. Now then, leave. You're disrupting my training, Sasuke said while Sakura growled. Did those times mean nothing to you? You used to smile, have fun, and joke around with us. Why are you so cold? She asked, and Sasuke stopped swinging. Oh, this is not going to be good, Shikamaru said in thought, and unknown to him, Neji had the same thought, as did Ino and Chuji. Sasuke huffed and closed his eyes. I did like those times, but I also see the reality of it all. I've recently learned something that has challenged everything I've ever believed, and now I'm confused as to what I should do. I don't have the time to laugh, smile, or have fun. If you understood me at all, then you would leave me alone, Sasuke said, and just like that everyone walked away without saying a word while Sasuke sighed. A small smile appeared on his face before he turned around. Sakura, you have potential despite being a damn fangirl. Stop wasting it and get yourself some training, and stop throwing your life away after fantasies, Sasuke said in thought before he continued on with his training. With Kakashi and Yugao, the sounds of clashing metal were numerous in the sounds of the forested areas. Kakashi backflipped and landed on one knee while Yugao smiled. You used to be better than that with a sword, Kakashi-senpai, Yugao told him, and the Jonin rolled his eyes at her. He held his father's sword in his hands before getting back to his feet. Can you blame me? I haven't picked one up in so long, but it feels good to have one in my hands again. OS, are you done or can we continue? Kakashi asked, and Yugao smiled behind her mask. Are you going to get serious now? She asked, reaching for her mask while Kakashi reached for his headband. Yugao's mask fell to the ground, showing her face while Kakashi showed his Sharingan. Well, you know me, I like to cut loose every once in a while, Kakashi said to her, and the two immediately disappeared while clashes resumed and was ready to have some fun tomorrow. One day later, Naruto and Kushina sighed as they came through the doorway. They had been going midday yesterday and just made it back. They were quite lucky at the time. Both showed their identification to the guards to let them in, which they did. Alright Sochi, let's go and see Tsunade, then we can get some kenjutsu training done. Along with some ninjutsu, but first we head up to the library and work on that little project of ours, Kushina said, and Naruto agreed. The two walked away towards the Hokage mansion. Hokage mansion. Tsunade was currently signing documents and prayed to Kami for something to do. She just couldn't get rid of the damn piles of papers. It was a living organism coming after her each time to make her life a living hell. Soon there was a knock on her door, and the Godame Hokage gasped with a blissful thanks to whomever she was talking to. Come in, she said joyfully, making Kushina and Naruto arrive. The two stepped inside while Tsunade seemed rather surprised. Kushina, Naruto, good of both of you to come back. Did you find anything in Uzumaki? Tsunade asked and Naruto nodded. We sure did. We found lots of stuff there. It was great, Tsunade-bachan, the blonde said, and Tsunade seemed shocked at the fact that they did find something, but she tried to hide that small fact. I see, well, you two are just in time. I have an announcement to make and you two are required to be here. It's a little bit of a surprise, Tsunade said, making them raise their eyebrows in confusion of what she could want. It was then that Shizun came through the door with a small file. Here's that paper you wanted, Tsunade-sama, Shizun said to her, and the Hokage took it into her hands with a smile. Thank you, Shizun. Now could you please go get Sasuke, Kakashi and Yugao for me? Tsunade asked and Shizun nodded with a bow before leaving. What's going on, Bachan? Why do you need to see them also? Naruto asked, and Tsunade could hardly contain her excitement in all the fun that she would have. Sorry, brat, but you're going to have to wait for that time when they arrive, Tsunade said, and making both Naruto and Kushina glare at her. I'm alright, but at least tell me why you need Sasuke. Isn't he still serving his time? Naruto asked, and Tsunade shook her head. No, because he's agreed to go with what I have planned. Besides, as a Chunin you should know some of these things, Tsunade said, and Naruto rubbed the back of his head with a slight nod. But if you must know, then he's out. He's agreed to go with what I have planned, that's why. Normally I wouldn't do this, but the fact that he gave up willingly sort of swayed my vote a little, Tsunade said, making Naruto and Kushina sweat drop. It would be best not to tell her about that. In about 8 to 10 minutes, Sasuke, Kakashi and Yugao arrived, and all 5 Kenjutsu users stood before their Hokage. Naruto glanced at Sasuke and smiled. Hey team, glad to see you out, Naruto said, and Sasuke folded his arms with a smile of his own. Shut up, loser, he responded with his own little grin. The two boys said hi to Kakashi and the Umbu woman while Tsunade clapped her hands, bringing everyone's attention back to her. Alright, you 5, settle down. For the last few weeks I've been enacting a small plan to form a group. Ask your questions after I'm finished, Tsunade said, making everyone nod. Seeing that they understood, Tsunade decided to finish. Alright then, I'll get straight to the point. You all have something in common, something that now makes you stand out from other shinobi. You are all Kenjutsu masters. You hold the finest expertise in sword-style jutsu. So I've taken it upon myself to make you all a group. As of right now you are all in the middle of the Jonin rank. Your group's purpose is to handle in all matters that need to be dealt with in the matter of swords, weapons, and anything else that seems related to the topics. Keep in mind that, yes, everyone uses weapons, but you're going to be one of Konoha's finest groups. Consider yourselves just like the Umbu in a sense. Your team is called Heineken Butai, the Swords of Fire Squad, Tsunade said, and everyone glanced at each other before Tsunade continued. You report to no one. You answer to no one. You are the blades that help protect this village. You are to only answer to me. You cut down our enemies in the name of Konoha. I suggest that you all get used to each other's. Yugao Uzuki, Kakashi Hatake, Naruto Uzumaki, Kushina Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha. Do you all accept this group? Tsunade asked, and everyone seemed to sweat drop. It was a lot to take in for a new-founded group before Yugao turned around and bowed to everyone. I look forward to working with everyone, she said while they all nodded. Naruto immediately agreed after her, and Kushina did the same after her son. Sasuke then went, and Kakashi agreed also. Seeing them all agree with her group, Tsunade smiled, but now was the time for questions which she was ready for. So what's the purpose of our group? I mean, do we have an objective? Sasuke asked, and Tsunade nodded fast, not wanting to get away from the point. You do have an objective. assassinations, surveillance, combat, tactics. All these things are things that you must do and more. You are the 5 who were hand-selected by me to do this group. Know that the missions I give you will not be easy. Some will bring near-life and death situations, but I know you can all handle it, Tsunade said, and they all nodded. Do we have a base of operations? Kushina asked, and Tsunade smiled as she turned to Kakashi. We can use my old house. I don't really live there anymore, so it can be refitted to however we want so long as we have the money for it, Kakashi said, and Kushina smirked with a nod while Naruto got to his feet also. I think we could also use Uzumaki for one of these base things. It's isolated, no one goes there anymore, and it's out of the way so it can be protected by enemies should we get attacked. It'll be the place of where we can go to do whatever we want so long as Ka-chan and Ba-chan are all right with it, Naruto said, and Sasuke raised an eyebrow at the name, but paid it no mind. Well, I have no problems with it, Kushina said, and Tsunade could honestly agree with it. I don't either. You will all be traveling a lot, so it's understandable. So if you want to use Uzumaki as a base of operations, then that's fine, but you are to tell no one about it unless I deem it acceptable, Tsunade said, and everyone nodded with smiles on their faces. So who's the leader? Yugao asked, and Tsunade smiled as she closed her eyes. Well, since she's the most experienced, then I have to say Kushina is the leader of Heineken, Tsunade said, and everyone could agree. They thought Sasuke would say something, but the Uchiha didn't utter a word. Do we get paid? Sasuke asked, making everyone fall to the ground before getting up and rubbing their heads. They all chuckled before Tsunade coughed in her seat. Sorry about that. Yes, you all get paid the Jonin to Umbu pay for missions depending on what I give you. Any more questions? She asked, and no one seemed to have anything to say before Sasuke came up. What are our privileges? He asked, and everyone could see how that was an important issue to face. Tsunade sighed and smiled. Well, for one, almost all of you have a Sanin's traveling rights. Sasuke, since you're on probation, you must always take someone with you to be cautious, Tsunade said, making the Uchiha narrow his eyes, but he expected it, so it didn't really bother him. You all have 24-hour access to the Jutsu vault of the village. I have my own personal vault that no one, but the Hokage, can go into. Plus you can each have a copy of this, Tsunade said, handing them all 5 copies of the bingo book. They each took their copies and placed them away. Consider it a side project for money if you need it, the older blonde said, and the 5 of them could agree to this. Any more questions? Tsunade asked, and Naruto came forward. Just one more from me. You said that you assembled, but I still want to know why again, Naruto said, and Tsunade sighed. She turned to Yugao and pointed. Yugao has been known as Konoha's Kenjutsu mistress. No one knows her face, but her name is quite common. Kakashi was one of our best Kenjutsu users during the earlier times. Kushina was and still is a Kenjutsu legend. She passed those skills to you, which makes you a Kenjutsu master brat. And lastly, Sasuke was trained in swords by Orochimaru, so that makes him very adept. It's only natural that all of you should come together. Do you agree? She asked, and Naruto nodded as he backed up. Will we be facing any S-rank shinobi? Kakashi asked, and Tsunade nodded. I'm not sure of that, but it is likely given your group's mission now. I'd advise that you all be careful and watch each other's backs, she said to them, and they all agreed. No one had any more questions, and so on that note Tsunade opened a drawer and pulled out 5 brand new uniforms. The top of it consisted of a black jacket with plenty of hiding places for weapons and the like. The front of the jacket was covered in grayish armor in some parts to allow for protection and movement. On the back of the jacket was the standard swirl symbol like on all the other jackets. She passed them to everyone and they each took them. She then went into another drawer and pulled out the pants. They were completely black also, and the shin guards were strapped to the hem of the pants for protection to the legs. She passed those to everyone and they all took the clothes into their hands. The tailor who makes these is the only one who knows of your existence other than me, Shizun, the Umbu and a few selected jonin. If these start to show wear and tear, damage them, take them to get repair or buy some more, but before that Yugao, Kakashi, Naruto, Kushina, I will need your headbands, Tsunade said, and everyone raised an eyebrow. They all seemed confused, but Naruto unstrapped his while Kakashi pulled his off his head. Yugao had hers hidden under her clothes and so she managed to get it off and handed it to Tsunade. In return for the headbands, Tsunade handled them all black scarves each with a single color line going through it down to the base. Wear those in its place. You're not normal shinobi anymore, she said with a smile, and everyone nodded again. And from me to you 5. Here, she said, handing them each 5 licenses. Sasuke saw his face and name while everyone else did also. Never lose those. With those you have access to all the shops around the Land of Fire. You are all ready, now let me see you guys in the outfits, Tsunade said to them, and everyone did so. They all left to change and quickly returned. They all appeared in their black outfits and Tsunade smiled at everyone. Very sharp, you 5. You all look amazing, she said while Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Kakashi gave an eye smile as he managed to somehow cover his Sharingan eye with his scarf. Sasuke smirked and so did Yugao while Kushina gave a cheeky grin. So do we have a mission already? Naruto asked and Tsunade nodded, making them all go wide-eyed, but she calmed them down. Don't worry. You don't have to do it until later in the week, so you'll be fine. I suggest that you all take this time to get used to each other for the next few days. You're dismissed, Tsunade said, and everyone shined out of sight while she went back to her paperwork with a satisfied smile on her face. Rooftops, everyone shined to the rooftops and Naruto looked over the attire. Well, this is a brand new idea that I've never heard of, Naruto said while Kakashi rubbed the back of his head. Ma, this might be a new experience for us. Now then, I propose that we all go to my old house. It'll be our base of operations till we move to Uzumaki, Kakashi said, and everyone agreed. So what is Uzumaki? Sasuke asked and Naruto smiled. The village and place of origin for the Uzumaki clan, Naruto said, and if Sasuke was shocked then he hid it well. All this time he thought Uzumaki was a no-name, but it was a village and a clan? How could that be possible? Kakashi's house. Kakashi took the new team through the trees and into his house. He turned on the lights and everyone looked around. The place had recently been cleaned and refurbished. You have a nice place, Kakashi-senpai, Yugao said, and the jonin rubbed the back of his head. All those times I wondered where you lived and I find this, Naruto said, and Sasuke could agree with him on that. Wait, I thought you lived in an apartment, Sasuke said, and Kakashi nodded. I do. This was my father's house, Kakashi said, making Sasuke and Naruto glance at each other before staying quiet. A small silence shadowed the area and before long Kushina clapped her hand, bringing everyone's attention back together. Alright then. I suggest that we all start to get to know each other. We'll all tell our likes, dislikes, hobbies and our affinities. How about that? Kushina asked. Yugao agreed while Kakashi, Naruto, and Sasuke sweat dropped. Deja vu? They all thought before everyone sat around the room. Kakashi served them all some tea and everyone thanked him for their drinks. Alright, I'll go first. I'm Kushina Uzumaki. I like my son, Fuinjutsu, Kenjutsu, and teaching my son all I know along with ramen. I dislike those who make bad ramen, anyone who gets in my way, and those who disrespect their fellow shinobi. My hobby is training and spending time with my son. My affinity is water. Next, Kushina said, and Kakashi rubbed the back of his head. Well, Naruto, Sasuke, I guess you'll learn a bit more about me now. I'm Kakashi Hatake. I like walking around the village, being around my fellow jonin, reading and training. I dislike those who abandon others. I also dislike Guy when he tries to force me to do his competitions. My hobby is reading. My affinities are fire and lightning, Kakashi finished and Yugao continued. Hello everyone. I'm Yugao Yuzuki. I like looking at the moon, walking around the village at night, and reading when I have the time. I dislike people who don't treat their weapons with respect. I dislike anyone who looks down on me. My hobby is training with my sword. My affinity is lightning, Yugao finished and Sasuke started. I'm Sasuke Uchiha. I like training, getting stronger and achieving my goals. I dislike those who get in my way and those who look down on the Uchiha clan. My hobby is training myself. My affinity is fire and lightning, Sasuke finished and Naruto lastly started his own. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I like my mother, ramen, my friends, kenjutsu and training, along with my recently good friend, Kyubi, Naruto said, keeping the last part to himself, making Kyubi snicker with a small nod. My dislikes are the times it takes to wait for ramen, those who underestimate me or threaten my mother. My hobby is training with my mother and practicing my kenjutsu. My affinity is wind, Naruto finished and everyone nodded. They were all surprised that they found their similarities so quickly, but they let that end for right now. Alright then, now that we know some things about each other we can get more acquainted. Kakashi, how many rooms does this place hold? Kushina asked and Kakashi rubbed the back of his head. Maybe 5 or 6, he said and Kushina nodded. Alright, since we're all a part of Heineken then we'll make our rooms here. There will be times that we can't go back to our usual places since people come there a lot, so everyone we need to grab some clothes from our rooms and houses and bring them back here. Meanwhile, we'll each get supplies for the fridge. The place seems clean so we'll divide the chores and things. Same can be said for when we go to Uzumaki. Only Naruto and I can help you pass so make sure one of us is with you when we go, Kushina told them. Everyone in the group agreed before Naruto looked the house over. Kakashi-sensei, does this place have a vault? Naruto asked and Kakashi nodded. Yeah, it's a medium-sized vault that can hold a lot of things. Why? He asked and Naruto smiled. Well, I was thinking that we could all take some scrolls from our houses and place them inside. Kind of like our own little jutsu vault of sorts. It might be a good idea, right? He asked and everyone glanced at each other. I think Naruto-san has a point. I think that might be a good idea also, the purple-haired woman said and everyone agreed with it. Well, that's all right with me, but we should also take some with us to Uzumaki. If we have the time then we'll renovate the place and then we'll make some buildings for ourselves. It'll be nice, Kushina said and Sasuke smirked. We should also make a training ground here and there for ourselves. We'll need to refine our skills. I'd rather not save the dobe all the time, Sasuke stated and Naruto growled. Please team, I kicked your ass that one time, Naruto told him and Sasuke grew a tick mark. Everyone's sweat dropped as they stared at each other making lightning go between them. Alright, they always like that? Yugao asked and Kakashi sighed. Habits don't die easily I guess, he said making Kushina nod. The two boys broke their glances with each other and huffed at each other. Mama, you too, for now let's all get this stuff done. I'll open the vault and you guys can set up the rooms. We should get out of these now before someone notices. So we'll go home and change. Our outfits will remain here, Kakashi said and everyone agreed with him. So on that note, everyone shined out of sight to go and collect some of their belongings. With Naruto and Kushina, the two members of Heineken came up to their house and quickly got inside. They walked into their room and opened the door. Naruto took off his attire and stripped down to his boxers and t-shirt while Kushina took off the same thing, but stayed in some more moderate clothing. They each put on some different clothes and quickly got to putting some of their clothes in some scrolls along with some battle items. Naruto sealed 3 to 5 pairs of clothes and Kushina did the same. They sealed their Heineken attire and quickly walked downstairs. They each sealed some food and other things in their scrolls and were about to walk to the door before they heard a knock. Naruto gulped while Kushina opened the door. They saw Sakura come through the door while giving a sad smile. "Sochi, I'll take our things. See you later," Kushina said as she ran out the door. Naruto narrowed his eyes and allowed Sakura to come inside. "Hi Naruto," Sakura said, and the blonde smiled. "Hey Sakura. How are you?" Naruto asked, and Sakura shrugged her shoulders. "I'm fine, but Sasuke-kun wants to disband Team 7. Isn't that crazy? He's joining some group. Has Tsunade-sama talked to you about it?" Sakura asked, and Naruto closed his eyes. He knew this might come up. While they ran through the trees, Sasuke told Naruto about his talk with Sakura, and the blonde knew it wouldn't be long before she would come to him to ask him not to do it. She always came to him when she was desperate. "Yeah, me and Ka-chan joined," Naruto said as he didn't really divulge any information, just told Sakura that part. The pink-haired Kunoichi gasped and stood to her feet. "First Kakashi-sensei, then Sasuke, and now you. Am I the only one who still wants the old Team 7 back?" Sakura asked, and Naruto stood to his feet. He could feel the Shin characteristics coming into play. He was a lot more serious than before he met Shin, but only around people who deserved it. "Look Sakura, I'll always treasure Team 7, but we're not going to stay a group. I told you I would bring Sasuke back and I did. I never said that things would just be the same." "That's impossible and you know it is," Naruto told her while Sakura seethed. "I thought you of all people would understand how I felt. You've changed, Naruto. Where's the blonde idiot that I like to hang around with? Where's the idiot that could make me laugh with his silly antics or his ravings about being Hokage?" Sakura asked, and Naruto narrowed his eyes. He stood to his feet and his glare made her flinch. She felt like she was staring death in the face. "Yeah, I've changed, Sakura. I'm no idiot anymore. I've grown up. So has Sasuke, in a way. I'm always gonna be around, but I'm not going to let you or anyone else berate me like you used to. I still want to be Hokage, but I'm also growing up just like the rest of the world. Now if you don't mind, then I have stuff to do," Naruto said as he walked out the door, leaving Sakura inside. With Naruto, the blonde sighed as he rubbed the back of his head. Maybe he was a little harsh, but he had to think about other things and Sakura wasn't one of them at the moment. He would always care for Sakura, but only as a friend. He had his girlfriend. He had the love of his life and he couldn't be the one to be Sakura's support anymore. "Was that too mean, Kyubi?" Naruto asked, and the fox demon snorted. "Please brat, I think you let her off too easy if anything. At least you're not her punching bag anymore," Kyubi said, and Naruto nodded. He then hopped along the rooftops and went back to Kakashi's old house. Kakashi's house. Naruto came up to the house and made sure that he wasn't followed. He walked inside and saw everyone else around in the room with their stuff. Yugao had a few scrolls and so did Sasuke and Kakashi. Kushina had her stuff and so did Naruto. "Alright, then we'll all go to our rooms. Pick anyone you want. Just don't take my father's room. I'd like to keep that one tidy," Kakashi said, and everyone respected his wishes. They all settled their things in their rooms, leaving a few of them free since Naruto and Kushina bunked together, saying that they were just used to it and being in small spaces. No one seemed to complain nor care. It took about 2 hours, but everyone was settled in and some of their weapons were stocked up in Kakashi's vault. Everyone sat around the house and noticed it was getting dark out before Yugao stood up to her feet. "Is anyone hungry? I'll make dinner," she said. And Kushina stood to her feet. "Let me help you with that," the redhead offered, and Yugao gratefully accepted. Meanwhile, Naruto stood to his feet and headed for the door. "Where are you going, Dobe?" Sasuke asked with a grin, and Naruto glared. "I'm going to the library." "Be right back," Naruto said as he closed the door while Sasuke widened his eyes. Kakashi did the same while Kushina chuckled at their reactions. Soon Sasuke stood to his feet and Kakashi did also. I guess we'll train for a bit. See you ladies later, Kakashi said, making them nod as he and Sasuke disappeared into the trees. With Naruto, the blonde walked the streets of Konoha and sighed. He wasn't about to go to the library just yet. He smiled as he found this to be the perfect time. The blonde quickly vanished from the streets and into a secluded spot. He came into a small area of the woods in Konoha and stripped his hand of the seal covering it. He looked at the large lines over his shoulder going to his seal and sighed. He bit his thumb and slammed the seal. Kuchios no Jutsu, Naruto yelled and the seal glowed. He covered his eyes before he quickly faded. He smirked as he turned around to see Shin looking at him with his piercing gaze as always, and Naruto tried to match it with his own. At least you're learning to use your gifts better. I'm impressed, if only slightly. Now then, what do you want from me now? The Shinigami asked and Naruto smiled. Well, tomorrow, I'd like you to train me in more of the spirit kenjutsu that you have me doing, but I would like to revive someone else. Even if I think this is a very bad idea, Naruto said, and the Shinigami closed his eyes. He nodded and got ready to do a revival. Who would you like to revive? He asked and Naruto sighed. There was no turning back once he said this name. I want to revive the female head of the Uchiha clan, the matriarch. The mother of Sasuke Uchiha and Itachi Uchiha. I want to revive Mikoto Uchiha, Naruto said, and the beads of the Shinigami rattled. They glowed in a bright light and Naruto covered his eyes. The entire area was enveloped unseeable before it died down. Contract agreement. I expect one sacrifice by the end of the week or I take her back, the Shinigami said, and Naruto agreed to it instantly. Understood, the blonde said, and immediately he saw a figure arrive out of the light. He smiled while the Shinigami faded. Mikoto opened her eyes and stared at Naruto. Who are you? She asked, and the blonde smiled. Hello, I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Welcome back to the living world, Mikoto-san, Naruto said with a thumbs up while Mikoto widened her eyes. What? With Naruto, the blonde gazed at the Uchiha matriarch while Mikoto touched her face. She gasped in the revelation that she was alive. It all felt like a miracle. She noticed Naruto staring at her with a smile on his face while she settled down. How am I back? Wait, that face. You couldn't be Kushina's son, Naruto Uzumaki, Mikoto said to him, and Naruto nodded fast. He rubbed the back of his head while he gave her a cheeky grin. Guilty as charged, I guess, the blonde said while Mikoto gazed at him up and down. The last time she had ever seen Naruto was when he was either 6 or 7. To see him so tall was different in its own right. Why? Why did you revive me? This should be impossible unless Mikoto thought for a second, and the idea that Naruto would try an Edo Tensei on her just to bring her back. The disrespect of the dead was so wrong and cruel, and Naruto seemed to know her thoughts before he chuckled. No, it's not an Edo Tensei, Naruto told her, and Mikoto widened her eyes before she calmed down. She sighed in relief that it wasn't like that, but that still left the question of how this was possible. Then please indulge me a bit, Naruto-kun. I admit that it's good to see you, but mind telling me about this? Mikoto asked, and Naruto nodded. He sat in the grassy field and Mikoto did the same. Naruto told her everything. He told her about him almost dying in Final Valley. His meeting with the Shinigami. How the Shinigami became his first summoner, and even how he revived Kushina, Gaara, Hinako, and herself. Needless to say, but Mikoto was surprised that anyone could hold a contract with the death god. It had to be considered a really big privilege and honor to hold such a thing. And you used it to revive me, but why? She asked, and Naruto chuckled while Mikoto stared at his seal. She gazed at its complexity before moving her eyes back to Naruto, who was still chuckling. For one, it was a promise to someone, but I can't tell you who yet. You'll meet him tonight, but before we leave, can you please tell me something? Naruto asked, and Mikoto nodded. She felt obliged since Naruto told her what she wanted to know. Alright, what would you like to ask Naruto-kun? She asked with a small smile, and the blonde narrowed his eyes into a small glare. What happened with the Uchiha massacre? The blonde asked, and Mikoto's smile dwindled. She looked at the ground for a second, contemplating a few things while Naruto gave her the time that she needed. It's not easy to explain, but the Uchiha were feeling arrogant. Our clan had always looked out for the benefits of the village, and my husband, Fugaku Uchiha, felt that the Hokage position was withering. He felt that the Uchiha should be deciding things for the village since we were the village police force. I always felt the Fugaku was blinded by that, but I never said anything even though I know I should have. Then Itachi came to kill us in the name of the village of Konoha. I can only wonder how hard it was to kill all of us, but Fugaku and I took our deaths without any resistance, Mikoto explained while Naruto raised an eyebrow. But all of you? Didn't any of you disapprove of this? Naruto asked, and Mikoto nodded. She sighed and slightly rubbed the back of her hair. Yes, but the village probably didn't want to take any chances. Rather than keep the Uchiha alive and live in fear of a possible coup, they decided to get rid of everyone. Tell me, is Sarutobi-sama still alive? She asked, and Naruto looked away in some sadness. It was the only answer that she needed before she sighed. I see, so who's the Hokage now? Mikoto asked, and Naruto rolled his eyes with a small smile. Our female Sannin, Tsunade Senju, the blonde said, and Mikoto gasped. So Tsunade came back to the village. Well, that was a surprise if she could forget about the fact that she was even alive. The Uzumaki and Uchiha sat in relative silence for a little while before Naruto took out a piece of paper. He then took out a pen and smiled as he wrote on the paper. Mikoto watched the blonde write whatever he was writing before he stopped. He handed the note to Mikoto, and the Uchiha matriarch took it into her hands. Alright, I think we can go now, but go towards the Uchiha compound and stay in the living room. You'll meet the person soon enough, Naruto told her, and Mikoto gave a confused expression. She wondered what Naruto could be hiding from her, but she gave in and got to her feet. I'm alright, she said, walking off, and Naruto snickered. He could only hope that things went well. Alright, now to get you then, that'll be it, Naruto said to himself before he shot off back to Kakashi's house. Heineken base of operations Yugao and Kushina were still cooking their food as they heard swords clashing outside. It seemed that Kakashi and Sasuke were having a good time with each other, but they did wonder where Naruto was. He had been gone for a long time and everyone was starting to get worried. Is the food almost done, Yugao? Kushina asked, and the female Exumbu nodded, taking a spoon to sip the broth of some soup. Yes, Kushina-san. Though I hope Naruto-san comes home soon, Yugao said, and Kushina agreed before the two ladies heard the doorknob twist. They tensed for a second before they saw Naruto come through the door with an ear-splitting grin across his face. Well, speak of the devil. How was the library, Naruto-kun? Kushina asked, and the blonde snickered. He turned back to his mother, and due to their connection Kushina could feel the overwhelming joy that Naruto felt, although it seemed more like a prank was coming into play sooner or later. Why are you so happy? Yugao asked, and Naruto sat on the couch. He tried to calm down, but the feeling was just too good not to smile. No particular reason. Hey, where are Kakashi and Sasuke? Naruto asked, and before they could answer, the two Heineken members came through the door from the training field as they heard Naruto's question. Right here, you loser. What's the matter? Too many hard books for you to read? Sasuke asked with a smile, but Naruto ignored it while Kakashi went upstairs to wash up while Naruto wrapped an arm around Sasuke's neck. He was in too good a mood to care about Sasuke's insult. The Uchiha raised an eyebrow at Naruto's upbeat attitude as he wondered if something happened, but Naruto was going to clarify that soon enough. "What's with you, loser? Get off me," Sasuke said, and Naruto did so before he stopped smiling long enough to have a serious expression. "Sasuke, go back to the Uchiha compound," Naruto told him, and Sasuke raised an eyebrow. "For what?" he asked, and Naruto smiled as he pushed Sasuke to the door. The Uchiha grumbled at the blonde before Naruto whispered in his ear. "You held your end of the bargain, so I did the same," he whispered, and Sasuke widened his eyes. He turned to Naruto in shock while he saw the cheeky smile on the blonde's face. Sasuke felt his hands tremble as he took the doorknob of Kakashi's house in his hands. He turned back to Naruto one more time, and the Uzumaki urged him to get a move on. "She's waiting for you, Sasuke," Naruto told him, and hearing those words Sasuke quickly opened the door and slammed it shut as he left the house in an obvious hurry. "Where's he going?" "Dinner's ready," Yugao said, setting the table, and Naruto smiled as he sat down at the table. Kakashi had returned and sat at another part of the table. Kushina sat next to Naruto and Yugao sat next to Kakashi. "I don't think we'll be seeing him the rest of the night," Naruto said while Kushina eyed him. Did he do what she thought he did? She quickly noticed the smile on his face and closed her eyes, smiling in turn of his actions. "That's my son, I guess," Kushina thought to herself as everyone decided to eat their food without waiting for Sasuke due to Naruto saying that the Uchiha wouldn't be back for the rest of the day. With Sasuke, the Uchiha huffed as he hit the streets of Konoha. He quickly ran through the crowds of people. He could have taken the rooftops, but he was in too much emotion to remember that small fact at the moment. Naruto had done it? He revived his mother just like he said he would? It sounded like a damn dream, but Sasuke could only pray that it wasn't. He rushed through some civilians that he shoved out of his way. "She's alive? Is she really alive?" Sasuke asked all these questions in his head as he continued to run while the sweat dripped from his face. He quickly came to the Uchiha compound gates and panted. He looked around the place only to see it was dark. He frantically looked around the entire place before he came up to his house. Sasuke opened the door and quickly turned on the lights in the living room. Time seemed to stop as Sasuke stared in complete shock. The Uchiha fell to his knees while he balled his fists. He stared at the dark-haired woman who was sitting on her couch looking at him. She gave a warm and inviting smile to the Uchiha heir before she stood to her feet. "Hello, Sasuke, how have you been?" she asked, walking over to him and ruffled his hair. Sasuke trembled from her touch before he quickly grabbed her, shocking Mikoto with his action. "Ka-san," Sasuke said eagerly, and Mikoto smiled while she softly petted his hair. Sasuke gritted his teeth while his Sharingan flared. He gazed at his mother up and down multiple times, and it showed him everything. She was the real person. No clone, no genjutsu. It really was his mother. "My Sasuke, you have grown up a lot. I missed you," Mikoto said to him, and Sasuke bit his lower lip. He gulped while he settled into his mother's embrace. Mikoto was more than happy to allow him that as they rested for a few minutes. He really did it, but how? It's not possible, Sasuke thought before he got up, and Mikoto did the same. She took in Sasuke's appearance up and down, and he really turned into an astounding young man in her eyes. She looked at him before she took his hand and guided him towards the couch. Sasuke followed her and the two sat on the couch. "I can't believe it," Sasuke said, and Mikoto smiled at her youngest son. She could tell it was a really big shock for him before she went into her clothes and pulled out a small paper. Sasuke noticed the letter as Mikoto handed it to him. "Here for you, Sasuke," Mikoto told him, and Sasuke took the letter. He opened it and read the letter. "To Mr. Emo, there, are you happy now? I told you that I always keep my word about the things I will do. There is Mikoto Uchiha right in the flesh. Please be happy with this. No doubt this is going to get a rise out of the village, and Tsunade-chan is already suspicious of my actions, so please find a way to deal with this. Mikoto already told me that she wouldn't say anything. Please lighten up now and don't brood. Naruto Uzumaki. Sasuke crunched the letter into his hands and smiled. He sighed with a mental nod. Naruto did his part, so Sasuke would do his and not say anything to give this away. Whatever Naruto didn't want people to know, then it was probably for the best, Sasuke figured. Sasuke put the note away and turned to his mother while Mikoto smiled at him. Well, Sasuke, are you going to just stare at me, or will you tell your mother about your life? Mikoto asked, and Sasuke nodded. He closed his eyes as he told his mother about his lonely life, which effectively made Mikoto sad about all the sadness that he endured. Sasuke told her about his being the Rookie of the Year and his obsession with killing Itachi because of what he did to the clan. Mikoto closed her eyes as she knew she would have to tell Sasuke the truth about the entire thing later. Sasuke talked to her about his entire life, even the unpleasant parts of teaming up with Orochimaru for a bit for power. Sasuke was actually quite ashamed to admit it to his mother, and while Mikoto severely disapproved of his actions, she could understand where he was coming from. Sasuke finished his story and Mikoto sighed. That was stupid what you did, Sasuke, Mikoto told him, and Sasuke sighed with a nod. He stayed silent before Mikoto gently pressed his head to her shoulder. Don't ever do that again. I never want to see you down that path again, but Sasuke, there is something that I must tell you, Mikoto told him, and the Uchiha looked at her in confusion of what she could tell him. What is it, Ka-san? Sasuke asked, and Mikoto sighed. She closed her eyes trying to find the words to explain to her son. She'd rather get him off that revenge path, and Naruto had done the first step, albeit bribery in a small sense. Sasuke, Itachi didn't kill the Uchiha clan simply because he wanted to, Mikoto said, and Sasuke looked at the ground while he contemplated her words. I know that. Everyone is telling me that. One of the Umbu told me that Itachi was doing it for the village. I find it to be so insane. Sasuke said in anger, but Mikoto's presence seemed to calm him down as she gently hushed her son. Sasuke calmed down a little more, and Mikoto spoke again. Sasuke, Itachi did the right thing. Believe it or not, but our clan wanted to overthrow Konoha, Mikoto said, making Sasuke widen his eyes. The Uchiha balled his fists before he stood to his feet. You're messing with me, right? Father's the one who taught me about loyalty to one's village. He told me to get stronger, all for the sake of being a good Konoha shinobi, Sasuke said, and Mikoto nodded as she stood to her feet also. She and Sasuke stared at each before the Uchiha heir looked at the ground. Yes, Sasuke, he told you that, but you misinterpreted it. You weren't to be strong for this Konoha, but for his Konoha. The one he would rule over as the Uchiha head and the Hokage of the village. Sasuke, Itachi is the one who showed true loyalty to the village. To love his village so much that he would take the blame for the village and become an international criminal, and least that's what I think would happen. Did he become a criminal? Mikoto asked, and Sasuke nodded. An S-ranked criminal, Sasuke corrected, and Mikoto mentally whistled. She didn't know whether to be proud or sad that he was considered an S-rank shinobi. The two Uchiha stayed silent for a small while before Sasuke looked at the wall. So what am I supposed to do? I never dreamed of a life where I wasn't going to kill Itachi for what he did, Sasuke said, seething, and Mikoto smiled as she kissed her son's forehead, making him lightly blush. Sasuke, forgive Itachi. You know the burden of following orders. I bear no hatred for Itachi-san, so please, just for me, try and forgive him. He might still feel bad for all that he did. I've known you both since you were young, and you can't fool me. Neither of you can or ever will, Mikoto said with pride, and Sasuke couldn't help but give a small snicker. Soon his stomach rumbled, making the Uchiha blush in embarrassment. Mikoto chuckled at him before she noticed how messed up he looked in his clothes. Well, we can talk about later for right now. We'll get you something to eat and then we'll go see Tsunade. There is something I'd like to ask her, Mikoto said, and Sasuke paled. Is that such a good idea? He asked, remembering Naruto's little deal and that Mikoto could tell that's what he was thinking about. Don't worry, I know about Naruto and we'll let that be our little secret. Now then, what would my son like for dinner? Mikoto asked, and Sasuke gave a very rare, but truly happy smile. This was such a good feeling for the Uchiha, as he had his mother back in his life. Next morning Naruto sighed as he got to his feet. He yawned himself awake only to see that he and Kushina had spent their first night in Kakashi's house. The dinner Yugao and Kushina made for everyone was good, but just as Naruto suspected, Sasuke didn't come back that night, and he had a good reason for not coming back. Naruto got up from the bed and stretched his legs. He saw Kushina still sleeping before he smiled and kissed her cheek. Kushina snuggled in the bed before she sighed. Naruto chuckled at her before he put on his clothes. In no time Naruto was eating his breakfast just like usual downstairs before his eyes gleamed. That's right. He had 24-hour access to the Jutsu library. He could go there, and all he would have to do was clear this with Tsunade, then he could go. Plus maybe he could come up with a different name other than what he thought for his time-space ninjutsu. I'm surprised you didn't say anything about me bringing back an Uchiha, Naruto said, mentally making his fox stir in its cage. I don't like it. Those damn arrogant pricks. You'd better not bring back any more. I still hate them with every fiber of my being, Kyubi said while Naruto snickered. So that's just a big, old, fat lump of hatred, right? Naruto asked, and Kyubi grew a tick mark on his furry head. I'm not old nor am I fast. That wasn't funny, Kyubi said, and Naruto rolled his eyes. The talk was cut short as Naruto finished his food. He was ready to leave after he left a note as to where he would be. So on that note, no pun intended, Naruto set out of the house and walked into the streets. Immediately he heard whispers of people talking. He snickered as he found that news traveled fast. Did you see her? I did. I can't believe it. Mikoto-sama is alive and well. I feel like it's almost impossible. Maybe the Shinigami likes her. All these comments Naruto heard, and they made him chuckle. He didn't have on his Heineken outfit, but just some casual clothes. Damn, news travels fast. I can only hope that no one traces this back to me, Naruto said to himself as he entered the Hokage mansion. He was no closer to walking up the stairs before he saw something slam out of the door. His sweat dropped and noticed it was a bottle of sake. I quit, someone yelled, making Naruto quickly turn his head to see Mikoto and Sasuke staring at Tsunade as she threw sake bottle after sake bottle out the window. The blonde sweat dropped again as he wondered what this was about. Tsunade-sama, you must calm down. Shizun yelled while Jiraiya seemed to be in a state of shock. Tsunade grew a tick mark before turning to her assistant and grabbing her clothes. Calm down. You expect me to calm down? Do you or do you not see the person in this room at the moment? I quit sake. It won't deal with this headache. I can take a lot, but this is impossible. Tsunade yelled while Naruto gulped. He quickly turned around the corner before Tsunade narrowed her eyes. Naruto, get your ass in here, she yelled, and the blonde winced. Sasuke and Mikoto turned around while Naruto rubbed the back of his head. He chuckled before dodging a sake bottle. What was that for? Naruto asked, and Tsunade grew another tick mark on her head. Who did it? I know you were dead, Mikoto. Kushina, then Hinako, and now you. What is going on here? I want to know it now, Tsunade commanded while Sasuke paled. Jiraiya completely agreed with Tsunade while the Sannin turned to Naruto. What are you doing here anyway, brat? Tsunade asked, and Naruto gulped. I just wanted to tell you that I was going to the Jutsu vault for a little while. That's all. Did I interrupt something? And who's this? Naruto asked, feigning ignorance, making Sasuke and Mikoto lightly chuckle at him before Jiraiya stepped forward. Naruto, this is Mikoto Uchiha. She's the matriarch of the Uchiha clan and Sasuke's mother. She was, and all the others were reported to be deceased, so this is a real mystery. I don't see the work of an Edo Tensei in the least. Sasuke, what have you done? Jiraiya asked, and the Uchiha gasped. He bit his lower lip and Mikoto was about to speak before Tsunade interrupted. Mikoto, let Sasuke talk. I want to hear this before I go insane. Tsunade said, and Naruto gulped before Sasuke rubbed the back of his head and closed his eyes. Why are you asking me? I didn't know about this at all. I only found out about this yesterday, Sasuke said to her, and Tsunade dropped her jaw along with Jiraiya. There was no way that she could have gotten into the village since the border patrols were tighter. Someone would have noticed her at the very least, but she was dead, gone, out of commission, pushing up daisies, whatever you wanted to say. This was just too weird to be true. If you'll let me, then I can explain this, Mikoto told Tsunade, and the Godame Hokage slumped into her chair before rubbing her temples. Brat, if you have something to do with this, then you'd better tell me now, Tsunade said to Naruto, and the blonde raised an eyebrow before he mentally stared to sweat. He had learned to keep his face emotionless, but he had forgot that lesson at the moment while Kyuubi was grinning like mad. Come, brat. It's time to get out of this jam. You knew this was coming, Kyuubi told him, and Naruto gulped. Why are you asking me? I don't even know who this woman is until now. I just came to tell you that I was going to the Jutsu library, Naruto said, making Tsunade slam her head on the table. Jiraiya face palmed himself before Tsunade looked at another bottle of sake. This has to be a damn dream, she said before she turned to Shizune. Shizune, get rid of every single last sake bottle I own. Right now. Tsunade yelled, and Shizune gulped. Tsunade-sama, you're not thinking clearly. Please settle down, Shizune told her before Tsunade sighed. Tsunade. I said I can explain. Mikoto yelled, and Sasuke backed away from his mother and appeared next to Naruto. I don't know how you did it, loser, but you have my eternal gratitude. I also learned some things last night. Don't expect me to keep saying this or say it again, but thank you. I really mean it, Sasuke whispered, and Naruto smiled. It's alright, Sasuke. I know what it's like to miss a mother, Naruto told him, and Sasuke nodded before they turned back to see Mikoto talking. You see, Itachi didn't actually kill me. In fact, he told me of his entire plan and I went with it. He told me that he would tell me all about Akatsuki. Yeah, I knew about it, and he would give me information while I passed it to the Sandaime. He didn't let anyone, and I had gone into hiding because of it. There were so many nights that I wanted to spend with Sasuke, but I knew I couldn't. Underneath the Uchiha compound is a bunker where I stayed in. I was given food by some unknown source, so I pretty much stayed down there while listening to what happened to the world. What you saw in blood was a blood clone that I used to make it real, but I couldn't take it anymore. I wanted to see Sasuke, and so I decided to reappear. I didn't care about the consequences so long as I got to see my son, Mikoto said, smiling and waving at Sasuke, who turned away with an embarrassed look on his face. So why didn't he tell us about it? Jiraiya asked, and Mikoto sighed. Well, Tsunade wasn't even here, and Jiraiya, you were always traveling. Plus it was treated as a SS rank secret, so there was nothing he could do about it. Don't blame him or me about it, Mikoto said while Tsunade sighed before turning to Jiraiya. Did Sensei even know about Akatsuki before you told him? Tsunade asked, and Mikoto grew a tick mark. You think I'm lying? She asked dangerously, making Tsunade and Jiraiya put their hands up in defense, seeing the deadly aura around Mikoto's form. No, that's not it. This is just a lot to take in at the moment. I can't believe it, Tsunade said, and Jiraiya could agree. I'll have to look into some things, but I suppose that makes sense. So what should we do? You know how strong Mikoto is. She was the only one who could effectively match Kushina in anything, Jiraiya said, and Tsunade could agree. She knew a lot of Mikoto's exploits even when she was traveling. It'd be a waste not to have her back in the service. Well, I don't mind coming back into the service, but I have a question for both of you, Mikoto said, and the two nodded while she smiled and placed her hands on the desk. Sasuke, Naruto, please leave this instant, she said, making the two glance at each other. Mikoto glared her Sharingan at the two Sannin, making them gulp. Immediately, Naruto and Sasuke left, leaving Jiraiya and Tsunade at Mikoto's mercy. Now then, I'm only going to ask this once and I want an answer. Where is Danzo? She yelled out, making Tsunade and Jiraiya turn to each other. We don't know right now, Jiraiya said, and Mikoto smiled while her eyebrow twitched. Summon him now. Or I'll make the two of know why I was one of the closest shinobi to the Sannin, she said, making Tsunade nod along with Jiraiya. With Sasuke and Naruto, the two boys were walking towards the Jutsu vault near the bottom of the Hokage mansion. It wasn't the Hokage's vault, but a vault for all those Jonin and above who could take scrolls and the such out of the vault. So are you happy? Naruto asked, and Sasuke nodded. He then looked at the ground and sighed. But I learned of the truth about Itachi, Sasuke said, and Naruto narrowed his eyes to the mention of the elder Uchiha. I did also. It's hard to believe, isn't it? Naruto asked, and Sasuke nodded. He sighed again while Naruto rubbed the back of his head. So what are you going to do about it? Now that you know Itachi wasn't who we thought it was? Naruto asked him, and Sasuke bit his lower lip. He uttered, but Naruto didn't really care if the Uchiha wouldn't respond or not. It must have been a lot for him to take in at the moment. He could only hope that Sasuke would start to lighten up a bit more. Anyway, why are you going to the Jutsu vault? Sasuke asked the blonde, and Naruto smiled. Say Cret, he said, making the Uchiha scowl at his Heineken partner. He said, but he followed the blonde anyway. He had nothing better to do at the moment. He said that his mother wouldn't mind training him a bit later. Not to mention that he couldn't wait to see what scrolls the Jutsu vault. Naruto and Sasuke came up to the vault being guarded by two Umbu and came up to them. They were about to go through the door before one of the Umbu turned to them. Can we help you? The Umbu asked, and Naruto turned to him. Yeah, Sasuke and I are going inside, Naruto told them like it was an obvious thing. The two Umbu glanced at each other before turning back to the blonde. Look kid, only Jonin and Umbu are allowed in here, and last time I checked you were either, so why don't you and the Uchiha get lost, one of the Umbu said, making Sasuke and Naruto narrow their eyes. They growled at the Umbu for calling them kids. Naruto sighed as he took out his new license and flashed it at the Umbu. What is this? The Umbu asked, and Naruto sighed again before he gritted his teeth. This is my Heineken license. It grants me and Sasuke access to the Jutsu vault, Naruto said with a glare before the Umbu handed him back his license. Obviously fake. There is no such thing as a Heineken license. Better luck next time. Now leave before we turn you to Tsunade-sama, the Umbu said to him, making Naruto ball his fists. This had to be some fucking joke, didn't it? Hey, what's going on here? Someone asked, making the four turn around. Naruto looked to see his mother smiling at everyone along with Kakashi and Yugao. The entire Heineken team was in front of the Umbu guards before one of them recognized Yugao. Why Yugao Taishu, what are you doing here? I thought you resigned from the Umbu, one of them said, and the purple-haired Heineken member smiled. That's right, I did, but what's going on here? She asked while the Umbu looked at Naruto and Sasuke. They want entry into the Jutsu vault, but we told them that they have to be Jonin or Umbu. They handed us fake licenses, so we're trying to send them away, one of them said while Kakashi took his out. By any chance was it like this? Kakashi asked with an eye smile, and the Umbu gasped at the same license with Kakashi's face on. How do you dash? he asked, and Kakashi rubbed the back of his head while Kushina stepped forward. You two are obviously mistaken. It seems that you didn't hear the news. Tsunade has created a group called Heineken, and just like the Umbu and Jonin in the village, we can all go into the Jutsu Vault. The license you saw was real, so you should let them and us past, she told them, and the Umbu gulped with a quick nod from the two as they opened the doors to Naruto and Sasuke. I'm sorry about that. It won't happen again. Please go on inside, they told them all, making everyone nod as they all went inside the Jutsu Vault. Immediately Naruto gasped at the sheer size of it, and so did Sasuke. It was so damn large that they almost couldn't see the top of it. This was really amazing. By the way, what are you guys doing here? Naruto asked, turning to his mother, former sensei, and new teammate. Kushina, Kakashi, and Yugao chuckled with their own mischievous grins on their faces. Well, we were all going to come here sooner or later, but we saw you guys gone. It looks like others are around too, Yugao said, seeing Umbu and Jonin in the Jutsu Vault. Yeah, it's quite packed, but we need to be quiet. It's sort of like a library of sorts, so keep quiet, Kakashi told them, and everyone nodded. Yugao quickly left the group to go and find something on swords, while Kakashi and Sasuke left, with one looking for fire techniques and the other for lightning, leaving Naruto and Kushina together in the place. So shall we get started, Ka-chan? Naruto asked, and Kushina nodded as they traversed the large library of Jutsu scrolls. So what are we looking for? Kushina asked, and Naruto rubbed the back of his head. He looked in one aisle and sighed. Maybe we should start with something to do with chakra, I guess. Oh wait, I know just the thing, Ka-chan, Naruto said as he ran off to go and get a book, leaving Kushina on a staircase. In no time, Naruto returned with a book and handed it to Kushina. She looked at the book and noticed the title, Chakra, Outgoing and Ingoing. Kushina looked at the book with a confused expression, but then Naruto handed her another book that read, Seals. The Unknown Arts. Sochi, what do these books have to do with anything? Kushina asked, and Naruto smiled as he decided to leave her wondering, and Kushina never liked to be left wondering about something. Come on, Ka-chan. Right now we'll need to read up on these. Then I'll turn to our Uzumaki book for some more answers. Right now Ka-chan will need to read these. Once we're done with these, then we can look at something else, Naruto told her, and Kushina nodded. She wondered where her son could be going with this, but she decided to get one with reading the books, while Naruto made a Kage Bunshin to go and get another book for him. The entire Heineken group secured a small table and read together. Naruto showed Kushina some illustrations of chakra that was able to go outward as well as inward at the same time. Granted, Kushina knew that, and she showed him the seal that were used to contain physical energy. Sasuke was looking at a fire jutsu scroll that was invented by the Sandaime Hokage himself. He wondered why it wasn't in the Hokage's vault, but he wouldn't complain about it. Kakashi was looking at a small scroll that spoke of a taijutsu for Sharingan users, while Yugao was staring at a sword book on the latest kenjutsu techniques written by old masters. It wouldn't be a short time before they left. Hyuga compound Hinako was watching her daughter train with her sister. It was a refreshing feeling to see her two daughters training so intensively. The wife of the Hyuga head smiled along with her husband and their daughter's progression. She sipped some tea with a sigh. Hinata, firmer stance. Hanabi, you need more execution, Hayashi instructed. Hi, they both said at the same time as they picked up their pace. Hayashi slightly smiled while he sat next to his wife and half-sister. It felt like a dream to have her back, and it was all thanks to Naruto. He of course was happy about it, but he also knew about the contract with Naruto and the Shinigami. It still seemed hard to believe that the blonde held a contract with one of the most powerful beings in the entire world, and he wanted to use its power to bring about peace. How was that for a good person? Hayashi-kun, are you alright? Hinako asked, noticing him, and Hayashi shook his head. I'm fine, Hinako. Just a little bit happy. Both girls have livened up since you came back and even Niji is smiling more than usual, Hayashi said, and Hinako nodded with a smile on her face. We both know who to thank for that, she said, and Hayashi couldn't disagree with her on that. Soon a Hyuga came to the two and bowed before the Hyuga head and his wife. Hayashi-sama, you are being summoned to an immediate council meeting. Please get ready, the Hyuga told him, and Hayashi sighed with a nod as he stood to his feet and walked off with Hinako giggling. Well girls, I'll be taking over for your father, so you get a 5-minute break, then it's back to your spar, but this time you both will be fighting. Me, Hinako said, making Hinata and Hanabi raise their eyebrows. You sure we won't beat you, Ka-sama? Hanabi asked, making Hinata giggle at the joke before Hinako jumped into the air and backflipped over Hinata and Hanabi, making them both gasp before she safely landed on the field. You both didn't think that your father was the only one who taught members of the Hyuga clan, did you? Hinako asked, making Hanabi and Hinata stare at their mother in awe. And so the girls' training began. Council room. Tsunade had sat down in her seat as the clan heads filed in. They all sat in their appropriate seats. Soon after them the civilian council filed in, and everyone looked to see Tsunade rubbing her temples like she just had the shock of a lifetime. So what's this meeting about, Tsunade-sama? Tsum asked while placing her arms on the table. Hayashi closed his eyes and folded his arms while Tsunade turned to the Inuzuka head. As of today I have a surprise for everyone. Especially Danzo, Tsunade said, glaring at the man, making the Root Division head narrow his eyes. Well? Are you going to tell us or keep us in suspense? Koharu asked, and Tsunade turned to them. Calm down, you old bat. Now then, open the door, Tsunade said, and the Umbu did so. Immediately there was a single flash as the room was flooded with Ki. They all tensed as the person walked into the room. Everyone widened their eyes while Hayashi seemed rather surprised. Tsum dropped her jaw along with Chuza. Shikaku sighed and rubbed the back of his head while Shibi raised an eyebrow. Inoichi seemed confused as everyone stared at Mikoto. Danzo tensed as the Uchiha matriarch walked into the room. Mikoto, everyone said while the woman glared at Danzo. Danzo! Mikoto yelled as she charged at the one-eyed man, only to be blocked by an Umbu. The Uchiha glared hard while she showed absolute disdain for the man in front of her. Mikoto-san, please calm down. Wait, what's going on here? Inoichi asked, and everyone turned to Tsunade for an explanation, making the Sannin smile. Tsunade told everyone the story that Mikoto told her. Needless to say, but everyone was rather surprised to hear that story, and before long they all got back to a current subject at hand. So why is she trying to attack Danzo-sama? A civilian asked while Mikoto narrowed her eyes at the bandaged-covered man. Why don't you tell them why, Danzo? Mikoto spat at him, and the elder closed his eyes while keeping his cool demeanor, but on the inside he was visibly trembling. Mikoto lowly growled while the Umbu tried with all his might to hold back her from impaling the man. Go on, Danzo, tell them all how you helped in the Uchiha massacre. Tell them how you stole 6 Sharingan from 3 different people. Take off that damn bandage and show them the Sharingan that you stole from Shisui Uchiha. Mikoto yelled, and Danzo got to his feet. Outrageous woman! Do you all really believe this nonsense? Danzo asked before Mikoto grabbed the arm of the Umbu and flung him away from her before she did a quick sidestep and slammed Danzo into the wall before Tsunade stood to her feet. Danzo, take off that bandage. If what you say is true, then you should have no problem taking it off, Tsunade proclaimed, and the elder growled. Everyone had their eyes set on him while Mikoto had her kunai right at his jugular. The old man narrowed his eyes before he looked directly at Mikoto. Damn it, I could never have seen this coming. I thought I had gotten away clean. Damn that Itachi. He can't do anything right, can he? Danzo wondered before Tsunade narrowed her eyes in impatience. Well, Danzo? Take off that bandage, and I mean now. Tsunade said, and Danzo narrowed his eyes while Mikoto smirked. Soon before anyone knew it, there came a barrage of smoke bombs in the room, filling it with smoke, making everyone cough while Mikoto covered her eyes and mouth. Soon the smoke dispelled and everyone turned to see Danzo gone. Tsunade narrowed her eyes, as did everyone else. She slammed the table while Tsum stood to her feet. "Damn it, he got away clean. I can't find him anywhere," Tsum said while Hayashi did a few hand signs. "Byakugan," he yelled as he tried to scan everything within his field of vision, but Danzo was gone while Mikoto sighed. "I'm going after him," Mikoto said as she jumped down, but she was stopped by Tsunade, who only gave a small grin. "Now Mikoto, don't be reckless here," Tsunade said while Inoichi agreed with her. He quickly jumped down to the floor and sighed. "We should get the umbu on him immediately," Inoichi said, but Tsunade waved her hand off at the position. "You all go home. I know who can handle this mission." "That includes you, Mikoto," Tsunade said, and the Uchiha matriarch calmed down and nodded while Tsunade snapped her fingers. An umbu appeared behind her and smiled. "Get me Yugao, Kakashi, Kushina, Naruto, and Sasuke," Tsunade said, and the umbu bowed before leaving while everyone looked at Tsunade with confused expressions on their faces. "Why do you need those 5? Chusa asked, and Tsunade simply smiled as she walked away. She really hated the fact that Danzo was now a suspect for being involved in the Uchiha massacre, but she was also grinning like mad. "I guess I'll give them their first mission. Granted, it's not how I wanted to induct them as a team," Tsunade said before she went into her office before she saw Mikoto follow her. "Tsunade, I don't know what you want with my son or Kushina or Naruto, but I need to go after Danzo," Mikoto said, and the blonde woman sighed as she rubbed the back of her head before she sat in her chair. "Mikoto, while I'm glad you're back, I still need you to know your place. I'm the Hokage and what I say goes. Now calm down and wait for the others to arrive," Tsunade said, and Mikoto sighed before leaning against the wall. "With Team Heineken, see Ka-chan, if you place the seals on your wrists, then the outgoing chakra while merge with the ingoing, and both will be concentrated to you hands as you form the ball," Naruto said to her, and Kushina seemed to understand as she saw how Naruto explained it. "Sochi, the way that sounds makes it rather unstable. You're going to have to find a way to contain that chakra or it will explode right in your face," Kushina said, and Naruto could honestly agree with her on that while everyone else was busy reading some scrolls, but then an umbu bursted through the door of the jutsu vault. "Heineken. Report to Tsunade-sama's office at once," the umbu said to everyone, making Naruto, Kushina, Kakashi, Yugao and Sasuke jump to their feet. They all narrowed their eyes while all the jonin and umbu who were in the room turned to the group. The team of Kenjutsu users quickly got to the door in a hurry. "What happened?" Naruto asked, and the umbu instructed them to follow him towards the Hokage mansion as they all tried to get the umbu to tell them what was going on, but no one had an idea of what he could want with them all. Soon they all came up to the door and opened it. Sasuke turned to see his mother leaning on the wall with a pissed-off expression on her face. He wondered what was wrong before Tsunade waved the umbu away and turned to them all. Kushina noticed Mikoto, and the two gave each other a warm smile and wave before getting serious to the situation. "Heineken, I have a mission for all of you. This will be your first mission as a group. It wasn't supposed to be this early, but circumstances forced my hand a little bit. We had a bit of a council meeting and, well, Danzo has become a suspect to treachery. He might also be a small accomplice in the Uchiha massacre," Tsunade said, and Sasuke balled his fists while everyone narrowed their eyes. "Ka-san, is that true?" Sasuke asked, and Mikoto nodded while Tsunade sighed again before getting to her feet. "Heineken, your first mission is to find Danzo, apprehend him and anyone who gets in your way. This will be an A-ranked mission. It's impossible that he left already, so you need to move fast," Tsunade told them, and everyone nodded to her with a bow. "Mikoto, while I know you have issues with Danzo right now, I need you to go home and rest. It's not good to have you too excited," Tsunade and everyone nodded. They all quickly left and Mikoto did the same. And Naruto? Tsunade asked as the blonde turned around. Tsunade looked at the black lines on the blonde's left arm and sighed. Stay safe, she said, and Naruto nodded as he left while Tsunade leaned her head on the desk before looking out the window. Damn it, Danzo, you always had to be the biggest pain in the ass, didn't you? Tsunade asked herself as she watched Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi, Yugao and Kushina rush on top of the rooftops. With the team, everyone rushed back to Kakashi's house and the Jonin opened the door. They all quickly gathered inside around the table. Alright, we have our mission, we'll be leaving in approximately 10 minutes. Naruto and Sasuke will check all areas to the east. I go to the north, Kakashi the south and Yugao to the west. If any of us find Danzo, then we'll alert the others. As long as I've known him, Danzo's been crafty in everything that he does. Plus he has the experience to back it up, Kushina said before Naruto raised his hand. Who is this Danzo guy? I've never heard of him before, Naruto told them while Sasuke was in the same boat as the blonde and Kakashi stood to his feet. He's a member of the council and one of Konoha's most influential committers. He was in charge of Konoha's Umbu Root division, but it was supposedly shut down by the Sandaime due to the questionable way of training that Danzo did with his shinobi. He's always been shady, but Konoha could never find the evidence to pin him down until now, Kakashi explained, making Naruto and Sasuke nod while Kushina clapped her hands. Everyone has their assignments, so get moving right now, she said, and everyone got to their feet. They all dashed off throughout the room. Everyone put on their Heineken uniforms and strapped their individual swords to their sides. Everyone appeared back into the room as Kushina opened the door. Find, capture, and eliminate. Let's go, she said, and everyone dashed off in different directions. With Mikoto, the Uchiha matriarch, sighed as she rested on the couch. Too much was going on that she didn't know about. She just knew that Danzo had done something to Shisui and that wasn't going to stand with her. Shisui was her older son's best friend and it just really pissed her off. Mikoto got to her feet and walked through the compound. She appeared in Shisui's old house and sighed. It had a burnt room all around it just like she thought it would. Mikoto came into his room and walked around. She came into the hallway only to see a sword on the wall. Mikoto ignored it for the time being and surveyed the house. Shisui, I wonder what he was thinking before his death, Mikoto wondered before she thought of Danzo. She lightly growled before turning back around and she grabbed the blade on the wall. It had a dark blue handle matching her hair and a shiny metal that was used from years and years of practice. Mikoto sighed while she graced her finger over the metal. Itachi, it seems that you didn't get Shisui's sword. He always did like this one, Mikoto said with a smile before she sheathed back the metal. Shisui, I'm borrowing this for a bit. Sorry if I need it, Mikoto said before she ran out of the hallway and then hit the streets. With Sasuke and Naruto, the two young swordsmen were running along the rooftops before they stopped. Sasuke looked around the place with his Sharingan while Naruto had his Kage Bunshins cover the lost area. See anything, Sasuke? Naruto asked, and the Uchiha shook his head. It wouldn't be that easy to spot some like Danzo if people still haven't found the evidence to convict him. I've only heard about him once or twice, but dismissed it since it had nothing to do with me, the Uchiha replied, and Naruto grinned. I guess it does now, Naruto said, and Sasuke nodded. He looked at the certain spot and glared. Hey Naruto. Look there, Sasuke said to him, and the blonde turned. The both secretly went into an alleyway and Naruto touched his hand to a wall. He closed his eyes while Sasuke waited. The blonde them opened them and nodded. Yeah, there is a high concentration of chakra right here. I don't know why, but I think we just caught a break, Naruto said, and Sasuke could agree with that. Do you think it's one of Danzo's bases? The last Uchiha asked while the Uzumaki shook his head. I'm not sure, but remember Kakashi-sensei's teachings, Naruto asked, and Sasuke thought back to that time. Look underneath the underneath, he said, and the blonde nodded. Right, so let's look underneath this wall, Naruto suggested, and Sasuke agreed with that. The two took their swords out and slashed the wall, making it crumble, revealing a passage going into the ground. The two Heineken members gazed down it and smiled. Let's go, Naruto said, and Sasuke nodded while he did a hand sign. The Uchiha sent a fireball into the air, making it explode, while Naruto raised an eyebrow. Calling for the others, Sasuke said, and Naruto nodded as they walked through the passage. It was really long and narrow. It took quite a bit of time, but the two swordsmen came to a big underground training ground of some place. Various doors and halls could be seen while they looked to the side to see that they were standing on a platform. They saw that the bottom looked endless, and neither was willing to find out if it was. What are you doing here?" someone asked, making Naruto and Sasuke look up. They both glared as they saw two young Umbu, about their age, walk into the platform. "Hey, we're looking for Danzo. Do you know where he is?" Naruto asked, and the two Umbu narrowed their eyes behind their masks. "Danzo-sama will not be meeting with you. Leave before you die," one of them said, while Sasuke snickered. "Look, either you tell us where his ass is or you'll be on the next road to the Shinigami," Sasuke said, and Naruto slammed his fist into his hand. He could get the sacrifice for Mikoto out of the way with this. "What Sasuke said to you idiots? Now then, Naruto said as he drew his sword. Sasuke did the same while the Umbu remained emotionless. "Are we going to do this the easy way or the hard way?" "And please say the hard way," Naruto told them with an icy glare before the two charged the Heineken members, while Sasuke and Naruto smirked. "Hard way it is," they said together as they charged to two young Umbu. Naruto and Sasuke charged at the two young Umbu root members, and a loud clash as their swords unleashed sparks over the entire underground base. Naruto and Sasuke narrowed their eyes at their opponent before they backflipped away from the two. The young Umbu didn't say a word, and for some reason it pissed Naruto off to no end. "Man, you'd wish they would say something," Naruto said, and Sasuke nodded before he jumped into Naruto's hands. The blonde launched Sasuke in the air, sending him high above the young Umbu as one turned his glare to the Uchiha. The other stayed focused on Naruto before the blonde's sword glowed in a small white, spiritual fire. He smiled while the Umbu prepared himself. The blonde quickly vanished in a flash of speed, courtesy of his mother's training. The Umbu wasn't at all surprised as he dodged a strike from the blonde Jinchuriki, but it was a feint for a swift kick that Naruto launched, sending him to the edge of the platform. The Umbu quickly rebounded and did his hand signs. "Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu," the Umbu yelled, sending a blazing fire at Naruto. The blonde closed his eyes and smiled. He quickly slashed at the fire, and it immediately died down to nothing more than a mere little candle fire. The Umbu narrowed his eyes behind his mask before he sent a kunai at Naruto's face. The blonde easily parried it, but the Umbu appeared in the air above him. "You will not get to Danzo-sama," he said to the blonde, and Naruto closed his eyes. He could only at that small declaration before he closed his eyes. "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu," Naruto yelled in thought, and a clone appeared right in the air next to the Umbu, making him gasp. The clone smiled as he wrapped his arms around the Umbu's waist as he drove him towards the ground. The blonde held up a single hand signs and smiled. "Kai," he yelled out, and the clone exploded, sending the damage to the Umbu before the impact sent him flying towards the wall with a loud thud, and Naruto sighed. He must be new. If they're worthy to be Umbu, then they should be strong. He hasn't even been here long, Naruto thought before he saw Sasuke dodged a ball of lightning from the other Umbu he was fighting. The Uchiha air growled as the Umbu grabbed his arm. He was about to shove a kunai straight through Sasuke's body, but the Uchiha had other plans, and with a quick maneuver he managed to send the Umbu into the air. He glared up as the Umbu backflipped before he saw Naruto grin. The blonde vanished in speed and appeared behind the Umbu. "Come on team. We still had stuff to do," Naruto said as he slammed the Umbu in the back, sending him back to the Uchiha. Sasuke closed his eyes with a small smirk and nodded. "Don't be in such a rush, you loser." "Chidori Nagashi, Thousand Birds Current," Sasuke yelled as he grabbed the Umbu's arms and made lightning course through the young shinobi's arm. It made Naruto and Sasuke narrow their eyes as they didn't even hear a single scream of pain or a notion that Sasuke even got him. It was freakin' weird, but they didn't say anything as the Umbu dropped to the ground. Naruto and Sasuke looked around before both sighed as the Uchiha sheathed his blade, but Naruto didn't, then started walking towards the Umbu, who was unconscious. His glare turned cold as he stabbed the Umbu with his sword. The Umbu gritted his teeth while Naruto bit his thumb. He turned around to see that Sasuke had left the room, possibly to go ahead, and the blonde sighed as he traced the seal. "Kuchi-ose no jutsu," Naruto yelled, and he stood to his feet as his sword pulled out a pure white specter. It was the Umbu's soul, and the blonde closed his eyes while the Shinigami appeared behind. "My part of our contract," Naruto said, and the Shinigami grabbed the soul and opened his mouth. He quickly devoured it quickly and stared at Naruto. The blonde was a really good summoner. He had yet to dishonor the contract, and that pleased the Shinigami greatly. "Contract agreement completed," the Shinigami said, and quickly vanished, and just in time as Sasuke had come back into the room and noticed that Naruto was staring at the Umbu's lifeless body. "Hey loser, you alright?" Sasuke asked, and Naruto snapped out of his daze. He turned around and nodded at the Uchiha's question. "Yeah team, I'm fine. Come on, let's get going," Naruto told him as he ran off, and Sasuke followed him through one of the halls in a hope to find Danzo. With the others about half an hour later, Kushina, Yugao and Kakashi came to the hole in the wall that Naruto and Sasuke had found. They were looking at it intently while Yugao knelt down on one knee. This was never here before. I wonder what other places Danzo has that we don't know about," Yugao said, and Kakashi narrowed his eye. "Well, he is a shady character as we know it, but we can't dwell on it for long. Naruto and Sasuke are still a bit ahead of us, so we'll need to search this place out and find Danzo quickly," the one-eyed member said, and Kushina could agree. "That's right, so enough stalling. It's time for us to go," she said, and the three entered the wall, but they didn't know they were being watched by Mikoto, who narrowed her eyes. She had seen the explosion of Sasuke's jutsu also and quickly zoomed in on the location. She glared and sighed. Disobeying the Hokage's orders. "This feels like a bad idea now that I think about it, but no stopping it, I guess," Mikoto said as she waited for a few minutes for the area to be clear of people before she ran inside after the Heineken group. Back with Naruto and Sasuke, the two young members of Heineken traversed the large interior of one of Danzo's bases and sighed as they decided to have a small break. Naruto leaned against the wall and wondered where the hell all the Umbu were. It felt like a trap to the blonde, as they would draw him and Sasuke in and finish them off. Granted, Naruto couldn't die, but still he'd rather not experience all the painful attempts that Danzo would probably try on him. "How far do you think we're into this thing?" Naruto asked, and Sasuke crossed his arms and closed his eyes. "I wouldn't know, but we should be close. Although I can't help thinking that this is a damn trap," Sasuke said, and Naruto sighed. "Looks like we're in the same boat. Other than those two, I don't see any more root Umbu. Who knows how many this guy has," Naruto said, and Sasuke could agree. They both sighed again before getting to their feet. Naruto quickly glanced to his right and could sense Kakashi, Yugao, and his mother coming for them. They were still a ways away, but that was fine. "Come on. We'll have to get moving," Naruto told her, and Sasuke could agree with that as the two ran off. They had kept traversing the unknown base, and it seemed that both their assumptions were right, as they could feel the stares of the root Umbu on them as they entered a small hallway. Sasuke narrowed his eyes along with Naruto as they saw countless doors to rooms that they could only figure were some people's residences. Hey Sasuke, you think those guys sleep here? Naruto asked and the Uchiha grabbed a doorknob. Who knows? Why don't we ask those who are already stalking us? Sasuke asked and Naruto chuckled with a small nod as he wasn't oblivious to the surrounding Umbu also. They weren't attacking so they didn't worry about them for the moment. I guess, but hurry and open the door, Naruto told him and Sasuke did so. He opened the door and glared at the single space. It seemed similar to his room in Orochimaru's base. One bed with a desk and a candle next to it. Nothing here, Sasuke said and Naruto nodded as they walked off. They searched countless other rooms, but there was nothing around and soon their travels brought them to another large space. It was a lot bigger than the last. Naruto and Sasuke glared at it and came directly to the center of it. Once they did, a few lights flashed on them, blinding the two Heineken members before they were surrounded by more than a dozen root Umbu from all sides while they looked up to see Danzo in a seat looking down at them. Well, I must say that I don't know whether I should be happy or insulted. Happy that Tsunade graced me with new and more powerful tools such as the last Uchiha and even the last Uzumaki. Or insulted that she sent brats out to try and contain me, Danzo said, making Sasuke and Naruto glare at him. If only a coward retreats to his hideout once he can't take the pressure. You're no better than Orochimaru, Naruto told him and Sasuke nodded, making Danzo close his visible eye. I don't plan on being lectured by brats who are too stuck in the Sandame's ways. However, Sasuke, you should be able to understand the want for a powerful village that will conquer all the others and be the strongest in the elemental nation. You could even kill Itachi with the backing up of the dash, shut the hell up. Sasuke yelled, interrupting him while the root Umbu glared at the Uchiha for his disrespect to the Konoha councilman. Naruto balled his fists, but he made sure to keep his anger in check of the things that were going on. Don't compare me to you. I'm no that way anymore. I know have something that's more to me than my revenge. I've learned things that I never knew and nothing is going to change that. It's all thanks to this loser right here, Sasuke said with a confident smirk and Naruto chuckled while he folded his arms. I aim to please team, Naruto said and Sasuke closed his eyes with a small smile. Danzo narrowed his eye at the Uchiha and Uzumaki as the Umbu readied themselves on his command. Danzo got to his feet and smiled. What makes you think you two can take me on by yourself? Danzo asked and Naruto smiled. He looked at all the Umbu in the room and glared. Well, simple, it's because that we're just good like that, Naruto said and Danzo waved his hand while he walked away. Deal with this nuisance, he said as he left. The Umbu crowded around Sasuke and Naruto while the two stood back to back with each other. Ready to go? Sasuke asked and Naruto smiled. No need. We have company, Naruto said and immediately a kunai was launched from the door and struck an root Umbu in the back of the neck, making him fall to the ground. Everyone turned to see Kakashi and Yugao walking out rather casually. The white-haired Cyclops rubbed the back of his head as he unsheathed his father's sword. You mind if we have some fun too? Kakashi asked while Yugao took out her own sword. Making a mockery of the Umbu of Konoha is something I will not tolerate, Yugao said as she entered the circle with Naruto and Sasuke while Kakashi did the same. The two young members were downright happy to see some of their team and sighed. Nice entrance Yugao-chan, Naruto said and the purple-haired woman smiled. Good thing we hurried to catch up to you guys, or who knows what would happen to you guys, she said and Kakashi looked around the room. Well, we still have quite a few young ones on our hands. Let's see how well they can keep up, Kakashi said as he lifted his headband showing his Sharingan. Sasuke grinned as he added chakra to his eyes and formed his own Sharingan also. Yugao took her Kenjutsu stance and Naruto took the same stance as Yugao while he turned his head. Where's Ka-chan? Naruto asked and Yugao smiled. She went after Danzo. So don't worry about that, the ex-Umbu woman said and Naruto sighed in some relief as he knew Danzo wouldn't get away. Now he could completely focus on his own ordeal. "Well, is everyone ready?" Kakashi asked, and the Root Umbu charged at the group. "Ready, Kakashi," they all said and dashed in 4 different directions looking to fight it out with the Root Umbu division. With Kushina, Redhead sneaked over the upper platform and looked down to see the other members fighting away. She smiled at Naruto's amazing use of kenjutsu and how he was so different from how he was 2 years ago. "That's my Sochi," Kushina said to herself before she ran off after Danzo. She quickly jumped down to a small hall and noticed how dark it was. She didn't let her guard down as even when she saw still around with Minato, Danzo was a crafty asshole. She wouldn't let him get away. Kushina could hear the rapid footsteps in front of her before she ran off in a burst of speed to catch up to Danzo. She didn't have to go far before she saw the man heading for a secret door. She narrowed her eyes before she threw a kunai at him. Danzo quickly blocked the kunai and turned around to see Kushina walked up to him. He smirked and closed his eye. "It seems that the past really does come back to haunt you," Danzo said before he dodged another kunai, making Kushina raise an eyebrow. "You have no idea," someone said as they jumped next to Kushina. The woman looked to see Mikoto next to her and sighed. Never thought you could disobey the Hokage," Kushina said, and Mikoto closed her eyes. Kushina noted the sword strapped to Mikoto's waist and smiled. "I'll deal with the consequences later, but for now I'm going to have remedy a small situation," Mikoto answered, and Kushina turned back to Danzo. The 2 females glared at him while Danzo unfurled the bandage on his arm, showing the awful sight of his right arm to Mikoto and Kushina. The 2 seemed appalled by the sight, and Danzo took off the bandage on his head, showing his Sharingan. Mikoto scowled and Kushina balled her fists. "I'm not losing to you too. I'll just make sure to send you back to the Shinigami where you belong," Danzo said to them, but he saw Mikoto vanished before he saw slammed across the face with a kick that sent him flying. Mikoto glared her Sharingan at the man and sighed. "You talk too much," she said to him, and Danzo got to his feet virtually unhurt while he did a hand sign with a sinister smile. "You still have a lot to learn, Mikoto-san. Futon, Shinkasho, wind release, vacuum waves," he yelled, and he sent the deadly wind blades at the 2 females. Mikoto and Kushina easily dodged them. Kushina backflipped away before she threw her sword in the air. Danzo watched it go up before he took out a kunai and laced it in wind chakra, strengthening it. He dashed at Kushina, but Mikoto stopped him as the 2 of them glared at each other. "Where is Shirsui's body?" Mikoto asked, and Danzo closed his eyes. "None of your business," he said before he was grabbed by Kushina. The redhead smiled, and Mikoto looked back to see Kushina up with a single hand sign. It was a clone, and from the looks of it, then Mikoto would have to back up. "Kai!" Kushina yelled, making the clone explode next to Danzo in a loud explosion that shook the floor. With Team Heineken, the bodies of young Umbu laid at the team's feet as everyone, but Naruto huffed as they looked at the others. Yugao dashed forward and clashed with another young Root member before the others came to assist. The purple-haired female cursed before she ducked under a blade strike and kicked one Umbu away from her. She quickly moved her sword around her body as it showed a few afterimages of the sword. Konoharyu, Mikazuki no Mai, Leaf Technique. Dance of the 3 Moons, Yugao yelled, and she blurred out of the Umbu's sight, making them gasp before they all dropped dead from 3 blade strikes while Yugao sheathed her sword. She wiped the sweat from her face only to see Naruto jump into the air. She watched him bit his thumb as traced some blood over his sword. Uzumaki Ryu, Heisu no Mai, Uzumaki style, Lotus Dance, Naruto yelled as he slammed the ground with his sword, and immediately a wave of chakra blasted from his body, striking everyone in his radius. He smirked at his accomplishment before he huffed. He wiped his brow free of the sweat before he turned back to see 3 of the Umbu in the air. Katan, Karyu Enden no Jutsu, they yelled, sending the blazing fire at the 4 members. Naruto narrowed his eyes, and so did everyone else, while Kakashi twisted his Sharingan. He strained his eyes on the fire before a black hole appeared and sucked the flames into a separate dimension before he fell to the ground on one knee. He cursed himself for trying to push the Sharingan, and a few Umbu took advantage of that time and launched themselves at Kakashi. The Jonin was more than ready to counter them, but he gasped when the Umbu were hit by Sasuke's sword, which was encased in lightning. Kusanagi no Tsurugi, Kidorigatana, Grass Cutter Sword, Thousand Birds Katana, Sasuke said as he pushed Raiton Chakra into the sword, numbing the young Umbu before he turned to Kakashi. "You alright?" he asked, and the Jonin got to his feet with a backflip. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just overdid it a little," he said, and Sasuke shook his head at his former sensei before he dodged a kunai from another Umbu. Soon they all saw one of the Umbu on the ceiling as he did his hand signs. "Doton, Chikyuwana, Earth Release, Earth Trap," he yelled, and the entire ground shook as the four of them gasped. They all jumped out of the platform and huffed. "Phew, that was close," Naruto said, and the others could agree. "So what are we going to do now?" "We still have a few of them to take care of, and I have the feeling that he's got more, but he's not going to waste all his forces on the likes of us," Sasuke said while Kakashi placed a finger to his chin. "I know something that will work, but Naruto and Yugao need to be in perfect sync for it to work, understood?" he asked, making the two members look at each other before they nodded, and Kakashi smiled. The earth stopped shaking and the Root Umbu were looking at the Heineken members before one pointed at them. "Submit to Danzo-sama or die," they said, and Naruto shook his head. "No thank you, maybe some other time," he said as he grabbed Yugao's arm. He swung her around and around before he launched her into the air. The Umbu looked up at he, but the lights blinded her from their sight as Naruto dropped down and charged at them all. He took out his sword and in less than a second appeared behind one Umbu. He smirked as he kicked them all in the air faster than they could react. The Umbu winced before they spotted Sasuke jumped on Naruto's shoulder and shot into the air. "Chidori Iso, Thousand Birds Sharp Spear," he yelled as he stabbed one of the Umbu. He grinned at his accomplishment before Naruto jumped in the air behind the Uchiha and tried to slash at an Umbu, but he parried the shot, making the Uzumaki gasp, but the Umbu missed the hidden grin as Yugao came down and slammed the Umbu with her foot. She shot for the ground and slammed him into the earth. She smiled at all the unconscious Umbu and sighed as she sheathed her sword. Sasuke did the same, and so did Naruto, while Kakashi clapped. "Good job." While I distracted them with the genjutsu, Naruto, Sasuke and Yugao could move in for the strike. It could only work because of Yugao's grace and Naruto's expertise. Though honestly, if Sasuke didn't show up it might not have worked. "Good job everyone," Kakashi told them, and everyone chuckled before they saw one Umbu crawling. "Danzo-sama, no trace of this place shall be left," he said, and everyone widened their eyes. He wouldn't dare. "Someone stop him," they all yelled before he activated a seal, and it caused a large explosion, making the Heineken members widen their eyes. With Kushina and Mikoto smiled as she looked at Danzo's dead body. She huffed like and smiled while Kushina did the same. "Well, he wasn't so tough," Kushina said, and Mikoto smiled with a nod, but they turned to see his body gone, and before long they looked to see Danzo on the other side of the room with a smile on his face. "Not bad, but futile," he told them both, and Mikoto narrowed her eyes. Kushina cursed and the two females turned around to face the man. Kushina closed her eyes and sighed. "I've had enough of this," she said as she easily erased the distance between herself and Danzo. The Uzumaki woman moved her sword for a strike and cut Danzo down, but she noticed another of his Sharingan on his arm close before Danzo appeared on the other side of the room. Mikoto widened her eyes and gasped. "That technique is dash," she started, and Danzo smiled at her. "Izanagi. I can warp reality to my will, so in essence. You can't kill me," Danzo said with a confident smirk. Kushina glared and Mikoto did the same, but soon Danzo's arm began to twitch as he cursed. Immediately he released a bit of chakra and wood started to grow from his arm, making the Uzumaki and Uchiha matriarchs gasp before Danzo chuckled. Surprised? Well, you should be, but enough of that, Danzo said as trees started to grow everywhere around them. Mikoto glared at, did her hand signs. Katan, Idoina Tochien no Jutsu, fire release, Great Land Fire Jutsu, Mikoto yelled, sent a blazing fire towards the trees, making them burn while Danzo jumped out of the way, but he was quickly pulled down by some chakra chains courtesy of Kushina, who grinned. You're not going anywhere, she said to him, and Danzo glared at her as the fire exploded around the room, but soon the explosion from the others brought the building crumbling, and the two took notice of it as the ground crumbled. Mikoto gasped, and so did Kushina. Danzo looked at the walls crumbling and cursed. He turned back to see Mikoto and Kushina glaring at him before he got to his feet. Don't worry. We'll meet again, but it will be on my terms next time, Danzo said as he shined out of the place. Mikoto growled, but a soft pat from Kushina calmed her down. Mikoto looked at her and the Uzumaki smiled. Mikoto, calm down. Don't worry, we'll get a second shot at him. Someone like Danzo is always trackable if give enough time. Mikoto, come on, smile. How would Sasuke feel if his mother would smile for him? Kushina asked, and Mikoto widened her eyes. She closed her eyes and chuckled. Yeah, I got a little bit ahead of myself. I just know I'll get a tongue lashing from Tsunade now, Mikoto said, and Kushina chuckled as the two left. The roof came crumbling down and the place started to collapse. Outside the base, all of Konoha was tranquil as the sun had set. There was nothing wrong as of yet, but soon there was a loud explosion and an intense rumbling. The Jonin and other shinobi gasped and the random sequences of explosions before they heard something under the earth explode, making them fall to the ground. Tsunade, in her office, quickly dispatched shinobi to find out what happened and investigate the incident. All the Jonin nodded and left the room immediately while Tsunade folded her arms and leaned back into her chair. Try to be a little bit more careful next time, Tsunade said as Naruto, Kushina, Sasuke, Kakashi and Yugao dropped to the ground along with Mikoto. Tsunade rubbed her temples while everyone rubbed the back of their heads before Kushina sighed. We lost Danzo. Mikoto and I had him cornered, but he got away, Kushina said, and Tsunade squirmed her lips before she gave a small sigh. Well, forget it right now. I won't put this on the mission record since it was unexpected to say the least. I know you five just got together, so I can honestly say that you accomplished what you did. Don't worry, I'm sure you will all catch him one day. For now, just go home and rest, she told them. Everyone glanced at each other in confusion of what Tsunade was getting at. But Naruto started, however Tsunade didn't allow him to finish. That's an order, you five. Now get going. Mikoto, I'd like to talk with you, Tsunade said, and the Uchiha matriarch nodded as Kushina patted her on the back. Kami, I now lay me down to sleep, she joked, and Mikoto elbowed her in the shoulder before everyone left, leaving Tsunade and Mikoto alone. Not how you planned for the day to go, huh? She asked, and Mikoto bowed. I'm sorry for my actions. I jeopardized the mission and I have no excuses. I sincerely apologize, Mikoto said, and Tsunade leaned an eyebrow on the desk and rolled her eyes. Well, it's not like I'm going to execute you, which I could do, but I doubt. Your presence there might have made it any easier, Tsunade explained, and Mikoto wondered what she meant by that, but then the Godame Hokage got to her feet and sighed. She looked out the window at the large explosion and sighed again. Of course I will still need to give you punishment, Tsunade said, and Mikoto nodded, not seeing any alternative, to which Tsunade smiled as she saw the sword strapped to Mikoto's waist and smiled. Come back here in a few days and I will give it to you. Right now, you're tired and the entire village is in an uproar, so I'll deal with you later, Tsunade said, and Mikoto merely left the room while Tsunade smiled. Yep, that's not a bad idea at all, she said to herself before she walked out the door to investigate the site of the explosion. Heineken base of operations. Everyone walked through the door of Kakashi's former house and sighed as they sat around the coffee table. They all sat in silence as they contemplated their mission. They didn't know what to believe about their objective. Failure was always a sad time for a shinobi, but to fail on their first mission was sort of depressing. Naruto looked up at the ceiling, Sasuke looked at the wall, Yugao was looking at the floor, while Kushina and Kakashi seemed to be in dazes. The only sound that could be heard was the sound of the sink faucet's water dripping at intervals. Man, talk about tension. You all need to calm down. You guys just got together. Don't expect things to just go together. Brat, you work with that one-eyed guy, your mother and that Uchiha brat, right? Kyuubi asked and Naruto just nodded absently. And how did that go? Kyuubi asked while Naruto looked at the ceiling. Kakashi is sort of still a little weird, but I trust him. Ka-san is Ka-san, nothing to complain about. Sasuke and I could still stand to work together. I just don't know about Yugao-san, Naruto said in thought, and Kyuubi rolled his eyes. Ugh, my point is you are all strong individually, but that won't cut it as a team. Fucking man up along with your team and get your acts together, Kyuubi said, and Naruto growled. Well, maybe I should go in there and kick your ass all over that cage. What do you say to that? Naruto yelled, making everyone look at him in a confused way. The blonde widened his eyes and saw everyone looking at him before he blushed and rubbed the back of his head. Did I say that out loud? He asked, and everyone nodded, making the blonde scratch his cheek. He sighed before smiling and clapped. Alright, that's enough of that, Naruto said as he opened the sliding door. He motioned for everyone to follow him and the blonde took them to 5 trees. Everyone stared at them while Naruto quickly made a Rasengan. He smiled as he charged at one of the trees. I hate root umbu. Rasengan, Naruto yelled as he slammed the sphere into the tree, making it fall. The blonde sighed and stretched his limbs. Well, I feel better, Naruto said to them while everyone looked at each other before smiling. Yugao took out her sword and charged at another tree. I hate failing missions, she yelled as she quickly cut the tree down. She smiled and walked back with Naruto into the house while Kushina smiled. I hate Danzo, she yelled and effortlessly cut her tree down and quickly left Sasuke and Kakashi outside. The two sighed to each other before Sasuke did a few hand signs and gripped his left hand. He made it cackle before he charged. I hate this failure of a mission. Chidori, Sasuke shouted, and the tree fell to the ground from the Uchiha closed his eyes and folded his arms. HN, at least it makes you feel better, Sasuke said, walking away, and Kakashi stared at his. He gave an eye smile and quickly gripped his right hand. He didn't say what he hated, but he just cut down his tree and felt relieved to do it. Everyone returned to the house and Kushina smiled. It was our first mission, but we'll get better at it. Don't sweat the minor details. Anything can happen in a mission, we'll all just have to be ready for it the next time. Come on people, tomorrow we are training and we'll get even better, but for now we'll be getting some rest, Kushina told them, and everyone agreed. They were all too tired to go home, so they spent the night at their base. Everyone slept soundly in their rooms and didn't let their mission worry them anymore, well, at least 3 of them did. Naruto and Kushina, the two, laid in their single bed and contemplated the events a little more. Naruto sighed and gave a soft smile while he turned over. Though I feel better, I still don't like to fail, Naruto said, and Kushina could agree with him. She didn't like it either, but she could tell that they would get over it. Danzo was just tricky like that. Come on Sochi, don't let it get you down, Kushina told him, and Naruto chuckled. He turned back over to her and smiled as his finger grazed her cheek. Kushina smiled at her son and placed her hand over his. Why is it that you make me smile all the time? The blonde asked, and Kushina shrugged her shoulders. She simply and closed her eyes for a few minutes. She then opened them and smiled. I'm not sure why, but aren't you happy that I can do that? She asked, and Naruto snickered. Yeah, you always could do that whenever I was done, Naruto said as he kissed Kushina on the lips, to which his mother easily accepted the gesture. The two parted for a bit and Naruto looked at her more lovingly. Kushina could see the lust in her son's eyes and smiled. Ka-chan, Naruto said, and Kushina merely nodded as she didn't want her son to hold back anymore. She just merely accepted it. She didn't care if her son saw her that way. She was rather happy that he did, and they could both use some comfort after their mission failure. Go ahead, Sochi. I love you, so don't hold back on my account, Kushina told him, and Naruto inched closer to her. Lemon removed. Next afternoon, come on Sasuke, move faster. Naruto yelled as he and the Uchiha clashed with each other using their swords. Shut up, loser. You won't be at me anyway, Sasuke said as the sounds of their spar rang through the grounds. Kakashi and Yugao smiled as they watched the two fight it out while Kushina made everyone breakfast. They've been so energetic since this morning, Yugao said, and Kakashi leaned against the wall as he saw the streaks of lightning fall of the metal swords. After last night I guess they need to be, Kakashi said before Naruto and Sasuke stopped. The two huffed and sheathed their swords before walking back to the house. Not bad, you two, Yugao said to them, and Naruto snickered. He rested his sword on his shoulder before he chuckled at the purple-haired Heineken member. Yeah, it was fun, but I still want to fight you the most, Naruto said, and Yugao raised an eyebrow. Getting ahead of yourself, aren't you? She asked, and Naruto scratched the back of his head. He continued to walk in the house before he rested on the couch. I don't think so, Dadabayo, he said to her, and Yugao chuckled before getting to her feet. Everyone walked into the house as they ate the breakfast that Kushina made for them. Everyone sighed in contempt before Naruto and Kushina got to their feet. Where are you two going? Sasuke asked, and Naruto smiled. Back to the library. That mission stopped us from finishing what we wanted, Naruto said to him, and Kushina gave everyone a farewell wave as she wrapped her arm around Naruto's as the two walked away, making Yugao tilt her head to the side. They seem rather close, don't they? Yugao asked, and Kakashi widened his eyes while Sasuke gave a small blush. You're not thinking what I think you're thinking, are you? Sasuke asked, and Yugao shrugged her shoulders. She didn't say anything while Kakashi smiled. Alright, on the possibility that what you're thinking is true, then what would you do? Kakashi asked while reading his book, and Yugao rolled her eyes. Nothing, I just thought it was interesting to notice. Nothing unusual about mother-son closeness, I guess, Yugao said, and Kakashi agreed. Sasuke sighed as he shook his head. He couldn't see his mother like that. Rather, he wouldn't. He wasn't looking for any kind of relationship with anyone just yet. Well, I guess I'll make a quick stop to the house. I'll be back later, Sasuke said, and Kakashi nodded. Just be ready, Sasuke. We're all leaving for Uzumaki in a few days, Kakashi said, and the Uchiha nodded with a slight shrug before leaving. How long is that going to take? Yugao asked, and Kakashi rubbed his head. At best maybe 2 or 3 days. Come on, we have some stuff from our houses to take. Plus maybe some scrolls from this place. Let's go, Kakashi said, and Yugao followed him out. With Naruto and Kushina, the two were in the library of the Hokage mansion and continued from where they left off. Naruto got all the original books and Kushina did the same. The two were currently reading away before they spotted someone in the room. I see the rumors were true, someone said, making Naruto and Kushina turn around. Kushina smiled and Naruto raised an eyebrow before pointing. Ah, you're that proctor for the Chunin exams, Genma Shiranui, Naruto said, and the man nodded. I see you're good enough to be in here, kid. Nice job, but I didn't think that I'd see Kushina-sama again, Genma said, and Kushina stood to her feet. Hee, as I recall you were still a Chunin at that age, Kushina said, and Genma rubbed the back of his head. I suppose, but it's good to see you. I heard that you were back, but never got to see you. You haven't aged a day since you were proclaimed to be dead, Genma said, and Kushina merely chuckled and placed an hand on her hip before she wrapped her arms around her son. Well, it's thanks to my Sochi that I came back. He really is a good son, Kushina said, and Naruto blushed at her words. Keikawa-chan, you're embarrassing me, Naruto told her, and Kushina laughed. That's 'cause you're so cute, Sochi, Kushina told him, and Genma shook his head at them both before walking off with a smile on his face. Well then, Sochi, you were saying before the mission? Kushina asked, and Naruto recalled everything. Right, the flow of chakra that going out and coming in can be at the same time. You said it would be unstable and I agreed. Let's see, Kawa-chan, what do you think defines a time-space ninjutsu? Naruto asked, and Kushina placed a finger to her chin. I guess temporal distortion, she asked, and Naruto smiled. Yeah, something like that. Now then, pass me that chart, Naruto said, and Kushina gave him an advanced chart of the human network and chakra explanations. Look here, Naruto told her, and Kushina looked at the scroll of a human figure with the hand signs and the labels for chakra, like the spiritual and physical sides. Alright, it's unstable, that's right. I remember Ero Sennin teaching me about a type of fuinjutsu that is used to fix distortion. Now the technique requires that the outgoing chakra and ingoing chakra be the same, which makes an imbalance or instability like you told me, Naruto said, but Kushina finished his words. And the energy wants to restore that balance, which will cause the distortion to appear in any shape or form that you would want it to be. If you place these seals on your wrists, then they will fix the created distortion and you can create the technique that you would want, Kushina said, and Naruto smiled. That's right, but you have to feel it. We'll test it out once we go to Uzumaki. As well as track down Danzo, Naruto said, and Kushina smiled with a nod. Just make sure to bring the scrolls with you so we can practice in Uzumaki, Kushina said to him, and Naruto nodded as they got to their feet and decided to walk off. With Danzo the elder sighed as he was walking towards an unknown location with two of his guards, Toryun and Fu. He couldn't go back to Konoha, but luckily for him he had other bases of places where he could be, and the first step to doing anything would be to go see Orochimaru about some plans. It was a shame that he couldn't take Sai with him, but oh well. That boy would be alright, he figured. Toryun, Fu, hurry up. We'll be going to our base in the south soon. Make preparations, Danzo told them, and they nodded at him with their bows. Yes, Danzo-sama, they said with their bows, and the elder chuckled. Konoha will be mine. No matter what it takes, he said as they walked off towards the Snake Sannin. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. Guys, make sure to help the author by visiting the link in the description. This is Fox Sage, and I'm signing off.